Correct.
So it's not a side hustle. A side hustle is something you own.
I agree with that.
And you don't own this. Okay. All right. So you said, hey, Dad, I think you ought to expand into this area, and I'm, as one of your employees, going to go do this, and you've helped him grow his business. Okay. I'm with you. Now, what's the problem?
So the problem is that going back to, like I said, that was, I'm going to call it a side hustle, his business, the marine thing.
Mm-hmm.
Back to my main problem is my every day-to-day operation job. We're kind of in a contracting field. I'm technically an installer, where I'm going out doing installs. Like I said, it's a 2 to 3 man job, most of them, but I'm doing it all by myself. I show up on a construction site. The GC says, how in the world you're going to get it done? And I get it done because I was born and raised in this and just know how to do it in a timely manner. But the problem lies where I'm seeing the profit coming in from that. And kind of my wife's idea is if I was my own installer for this stuff, I could basically pay my whole month's expenses for my family in 1 day of work. To whereas now, since I'm working for my father, it's salary-based pay.
So how much are you making?
Right now, 65 plus bonus. And that bonus.
And your bonus ends up being what?
It's at the end of the year about 110, 115 on average. For the past, that's total.
You're 23 years old and you made $120,000, $115,000.
Yes.
Okay.
And I know I'm young and I got a lot of growth here, but I want better for my family. I'm not wanting to just sit back and like you say, I would rather go kill something, drag it home than just sit back on the sidelines, because discussions I've had with him is he's not retiring anytime soon. And there's no upward trajectory in that business. Like I said, I have no say so on how the store performs. And that's part of my commission is based off of the percentages of the store for the month prior.
How many stores do you all have?
Just one.
Okay, so he's in the store also. You're functioning as a tradesman, physically installing the goods, correct?
Correct.
So a 23-year-old tradesman making $115,000 a year is not a good deal?
I think I could do better if I was on my own, but it would be competing interest. And that's another thing. Is it ethical for me to open up my own competing company within that same field when we're the only ones in an 80-mile radius that do what we do?
No.
I knew you were going to say that.
And the reason is what you're forgetting is you think you're only being paid for installing, or you think your company's only being paid for installing. Part of what your company's being paid for is your father's name and reputation and reliability that you had nothing to do with creating. You were running around in short pants while he was doing that.
That is true. I am third generation at the store, but a lot of two of our main.
Well, then your grandpa's reputation.
That is correct. And I understand.
So it's not as easy as you just walk out. If you move to another city with your tradesman expertise, I don't think you can duplicate this.
So two of our biggest clients right now, I'm actually the one that they came to first, and I built that reputation up for the company. I give them a call. I show up on time. I get the work done that I say I'm going to get done. And I'm the one doing it all. Mm-hmm. Even though they found us through his name, which I completely understand. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of just wanted some guidance.
I appreciate it, John. I'm going to love you enough to tell you the truth. I don't think you're giving enough credit to your father and your grandfather and the operations of this business. You think you're all that more than you are. And you're an installer right now, and you're learning the trade from the old man that learned it from the old man. Give yourself a little time, hon. Let this stay in the oven and cook up a little more. I think the only way you can try to go on your own ethically is to go to another city and do this. If you want to do that, because you're all hot and bothered, go do it. But I think it's going to be a lot harder than you and your sweet wife think it is. I don't think you have any. I think there's about 30% of this whole thing that you think you're doing that you're not doing. I think you're doing about 70%, which is the actual work, and you built these two singular relationships because they walked in the door of a store that's third generation. And the kid standing there that's 23 took the order. So you're standing on the shoulders of giants and you don't know it. That's what I think. And I'm not being mean to you. If I were in your shoes, I'd want somebody to love me enough to tell me to have some patience, that this is harder than you think it is right now. And I think you go to your dad and say, all right, I've learned the install. I've learned a little bit about the customer relations. Now teach me about reputation. Teach me about grit. Teach me about the operations here and the details and making the payroll and the hires. Start to teach me how to run this business, because that'll help me with my patience level, because right now I'm just my feet are all hot and I don't want to, and I need to learn something more. But I think this is more than you think it is. That's my opinion. Might be wrong. Been wrong before. Probably be wrong again. This is the Entree Leadership Podcast. What does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts and you'll get 10 different answers. Economic growth or a recession? Business taxes will go up or down. AI will help us work or replace us all. But there's no such thing as a crystal ball. That's why more than 38,000 businesses have future-proofed themselves with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud enterprise resource planning system. Ramsey Solutions, our company, uses NetSuite, and you should too. NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one platform. And with the one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth for the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. NetSuite's real-time insights and forecasting help you see into the future with actionable data. And when you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you spend less time looking backward and more time focusing on what's next. And speaking of what's next, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. It's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey. Hey, do you feel like you're running on empty? If you're leading a business, then it's no wonder. Business is freaking hard, but that doesn't mean you should let yourself get burned out. So join me and thousands of small business leaders in Denver next spring to refuel your leadership tank with life-changing insight from all of our speakers. Best-selling author of Good to Great, the one and only Jim Collins will be there. Argument expert Jefferson Fisher will be there. Leadership expert, grandpa of them all, John Maxwell. And we've even got the world heavyweight champion, George Foreman, and the CEO of Seiko Designs, Liz Bohannon, and Seth Dillon from the Babylon Bee. By the end of the conference, you're going to be refreshed, equipped, and a new vision for your business. With this lineup, if it wasn't my conference, I would still go. There's something here to learn, I can tell you that. So mark your calendar for May 18 through 21 of 2025 and get your tickets before they're gone. Go to entreleadership.com/summit and reserve your seats right now. Or if you're listening on YouTube or a podcast, click the link in the show notes and get your seats. Don't call me whining if you don't get your seats and we sell out. Don't do that. Get your seats. Michael's in Portland, Oregon. Hey, Michael, how are you?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Dave, I'm a co-owner of a small family-owned medical practice. Last year, we grossed $2.2 million in revenue. We have 24 team members. This year, we have run out of cash reserves and pulled out of our own personal emergency fund recently to make payroll.
Why?
If anything else, why?
Why'd you run out of money?
We had a cyber attack in healthcare and it slowed down our revenues significantly. We've upped our amount of patients, rallied our team, but our team is feeling maxed out, and we're right at the verge of making our base expenses, but we have nowhere else to pull from, Dave.
Wait a minute. Why are you not profitable? The cyber attack?
A major cyber attack slowed down all of our revenues. And so we
slow down your receivables.
Yes.
So you're running Medicare.
No. We mainly just
Who owes you money that didn't pay you because of a cyber attack?
All that money has now come back into the business.
Okay. So that was a cash flow problem. That's not a profit problem, right?
No.
Are you profitable if things are operating the way they're supposed to? You have margin.
Barely.
Why?
We had to see more patients per week, which we've been doing, and we're having to renegotiate with some of our 1099 providers to make it more equitable for us to continue to do business.
A 1099 provider.
Contract provider. So
I know. So you've got a doctor in there on 1099?
We have some nurse practitioners and naturopathic doctors that are on 1099.
Okay. Which is a lot more expensive than if they were on payroll.
Yes. Last year, we started our first full-time nurse practitioner as a W-2 employee, which has been
So if you did less business with less people on payroll and or contract, you could get your margins back. Is the fact that you went contract rather than employee for your expansion, is that where your profits went? Because I know our contract, when we have contract line items on our P&L, I start screaming because my payroll costs just went way up.
That's what I learned last year, Dave, is we started converting them over slowly to W-2s to make it more profitable.
Yeah.
So we're in negotiations with them.
I mean, if I hire a software engineer on 1099, it costs me considerably more than if I hire them full time.
I totally agree.
Okay, that's what I'm relating to. I'm not sure about your world, but okay. So your profits, were you ever profitable?
Yes, Dave. We did our debt-free scream in 2020.
When was the last time that you were thrilled with your profit margin?
Last year.
Okay, what changed? Because the cyber attack was a cash flow problem that has been rectified now. And so that wasn't where your profit went. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. So what's different from last year then?
We were getting the end of the pandemic stabilization money, and I didn't catch that was adding to our profits. So we had to increase the amount of patients we've seen per week.
Okay, so you weren't as profitable as you thought. You had government subsidy.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so the difference is that so basically you didn't really have a great profit. You just got a government check.
Yes.
So your business model was already broken back there, but it was masked by the government subsidy. Am I missing that?
You got it nailed, Dave.
Okay. All right. So was there a point that the business model without government subsidy was working?
Barely. That's a great question, Dave.
Because what I'm trying to figure out is where your profits disappeared to. I get that they disappeared maybe a year before last, 3 years ago, but we covered that up with the pandemic. And then when that money went away, the pandemic money went away, then now this year we're even made it worse with 1099 people. I kind of getting that overall picture. So, but what I'm always looking for is the why. I'm like that little 10-year-old boy. Why? What is broken in the business model? And it sounds like that you're not getting enough revenue. Your business model you're not getting paid enough per patient to justify the payroll. That's what it sounds like.
Yes, and we've been diving in. We have some coding issues that will help us increase the amount of profits. We're making our providers more profitable with the claims they submit, and these are things we've learned through this process.
It's kind of what I think they call practice management, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm trying to learn with you, okay? That's what I heard it was called. I mean, I know docs and people that do these things, and we've got them in the EntreLeadership audience. I talk to them, but I've never run one of these things, so I don't have hands-on experience, but I'm trying to get there with it. So here's the thing. If I've got a business that is not profitable, it has to do with anything. It's a basic thing. The business model, what is driving my expenses up, and what can I do to raise my prices and manage the expense model better? Because if I can get the expenses down and get the price per unit, so to speak, up, then I've got margin on every patient I see, and my profits return, and maybe for the best ever they've ever been, without forgiving, in your case, without losing quality, which we would call patient care, I guess, in your world. But I don't want to put out crap in order to get there, because that's ruining my future, right? I can't do bad work, crappy work, but I do. In other words, if you cut down your patient time seeing a patient to the point that the patient feels like they were cattle rushing through a chute, then they're not going to keep coming back. You're going to lose the patient, right?
Absolutely.
But you do have to manage the amount of time each of these providers see. That's part of practice management, because if you don't, that's your widgets going off the conveyor belt, right? We have to go slow enough that the widget has quality, but fast enough that we get enough of them off the belt each day. Is that how it works?
Very insightful, Dave. Yes.
Okay. All right. And so is that what you're working on?
Yes, it is.
All right. So I'm not putting money in this unless I see how I have fixed it.
Agreed.
Okay. So have you raised the price per unit, so to speak? I don't know what the proper terminology in your world is, but the price per unit enough that it justifies the expense, or have you lowered the expense per unit, your variable expenses versus your variable revenues, in order to create profit? Because that's where it's going to come from here, because your fixed expenses are probably just that. They're probably fixed. Stuff like rent, that's probably set. But it sounds like your payroll's too high to me. It sounds like you got too dead gummy people in the building.
Very likely. Possible.
Yeah. I think you got some people twiddling their thumbs, checking their Facebook account, because they ain't got enough work. I don't know, but 24 people on $2 million is pretty strong.
That's true. Half of them are the providers that are doing the care.
Okay, but still, what are the other half doing? A certain amount of they're doing ops functions, right? Operational functions. Yes. Yeah. I get it. But okay, let me back up. I've been keep diving on the grenade here. I'm trying to, what's the best thing I can do to help you now that I kind of got my arms around it a little bit?
So I think, Dave, that we're right there at the break-even point. If anything else goes wrong, the only thing I don't do debt. I did my debt-free scream. I don't want to go into debt. So I'm thinking I have an emergency fund personally. That's my last of my cash reserves, and then we're really hurting. So we are adjusting our expenses. We're increasing the amount of patients. We've got a lot of things showing we're headed in the right direction. But my question, I guess, is if another thing went bad, another cyber attack, what would you do? I don't like debt. I don't like that at all.
I'm not going to, that's not the answer. If I'm in your situation, I'm not using my emergency fund either. My personal emergency fund for my house, because my wife would leave. So it's not an option. We don't touch that. It's sacred, because it's not a business emergency fund. That's retained earnings.
Right.
What would I do in your situation? I would be forced to address the number one expense item in your P&L, which is your payroll. I'd be forced to let some people go, because I wouldn't be able to pay them.
Okay.
Now, before I did that, I would take no money coming home.
That's an option. We're looking at decreasing our salaries.
Yeah, it's not a permanent thing, but like, for instance, when pandemic hit and we had to shut down entire segments of our business here, we told our team, we've got a certain amount of cash, and if the lines cross, meaning that we go from profitable to unprofitable, we're going to first use the cash to cover the difference. Secondly, leadership will take no pay. Thirdly, we will start having to furlough some of you. Fourthly, we'll start permanently laying off some of you. But we're going to take no pay long before we get there, and you're going to get lots and lots and lots of communication before we get there. So, but I think you probably got a 5-person leadership team that needs to be in the know on this and say, guys, we've got to get costs down and revenues up. This is not working. It's not sustainable. This is not a hobby. It's a business. We have to make a profit here. And if we can't do that, then we're there. So your next stage is you're out of cash. You can't make payroll. And so you're going to have to start laying people off. That's where you would be. And those will probably be your ops people, because your other providers are making you revenue. They make you more than they cost you every time they show up, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if it should be all the time, not pretty much. It ought to be 100%. I don't need them in the building unless they're making me money. They're freaking 1099. I do not need you here unless you make me more than you cost me. That's easy. That's a permanent decision. Now, but overall, conceptually, the pain that you're facing is, in order to try to stay open, we're going to cut payroll, and it's probably going to be some ops people, some of the non-provider people. It may be that you're not getting enough out of some of these providers and you need to cut them loose. They may be costing you more than they are making you. And I would start looking at the individual production on that. I look at those providers almost as salespeople, in that they need to make me more than they cost me. And if they don't, then I can't justify keeping them because I'm not creating enough revenue there. So these are hard questions, Michael. It's emotional, and it's very difficult. But, yeah, I would not use my personal emergency fund. I'd gather my leadership team together. I would cut your pay temporarily down. Say the first step is I'm going to take $1, or I'm going to take $10, or I'm going to take whatever number of dollars that you can get by on in order to get this thing moving. We have got to get our expenses down. And, man, you probably need to lay 2 people off. You probably need to find 2 of your 24. That'll give you some instantaneous margin next Friday when payroll comes out. I guess. I don't know. But you got to look at that and make that decision. Or you say, I'm going to give this 30 more days, and then I'm going to have to do that. And then I'm going to give it 60 more days, and I'm going to have to lay 4 more off. Because your number one line item expense in almost all of you listening in your small business world is payroll. And we don't lay people off to try to make a profit on their back. That's not the point. We simply are not going to have the money to pay them. And so we've got to lay them off because we can't pay them. It's a matter of integrity. So that's different than corporate America laying people off just to increase stock price. That's not what we're going to tell you to do ever. And Michael, what you're facing is painful, but, man, get up above this and run right straight into the fire and put it out. Run into the building. Don't run from the building. Don't sit back with your hands over your ears going la, 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 la. I didn't hear that, by the way. I heard you addressing it, but I'm going to encourage you. This is high stress, high courage. Running a business is not for sissies, and you're right in the middle of this. So get some good men and women in your life that are coaching you from the side, that are friends, that are pushing you on, your wife pushing you on, pushing you through this, and then, make the hard calls to see if you can turn the corner with this thing. And but you've got to get it moving, or you're making a big decision, which is to finish the thing off. And that's necessary endings. When we lose hope in something completely, I don't think I can get this profitable no matter what I do. When you say that, turn the key, walk away. There's no magic beans. There's no magic beans, Jack. No beanstalk. Not happening. So you got to look at it and go, this is the way it really is. And that's a very, very difficult thing to do. But I don't think you're there yet. I think you've still got some analysis to do as where the freaking money going. It's a Jerry Maguire thing. Show me the money. I'm looking at the P&L. I'm looking at the cash flow statements. I'm looking at the deposits. I'm looking at each provider what they cost versus what's coming in per provider. Show me the money, Jerry Maguire. That's where we're going with that. So, good stuff, man. You're a good man. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. You got this. You can do it. But I think you've uncovered the weaknesses. Now we got to backfill for them. This is the Entree Leadership Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to Entree Leadership, where we talk to real business leaders with real problems. I am not a theory guy. I do this from the trenches, and my guest this segment is the same situation. Liz is the co-founder and CEO of the fashion brand Seiko Designs, and she's now the Chief Growth Officer of Noonday Collection, and she's one of our speakers coming up at the Entree Leadership Summit that's going to be May 18th through the 21st in Denver. And so you're going to want to hear from her when you're there, but we wanted to give you guys a brief look at her for a few minutes here. And welcome, Liz. Good to have you.
Thanks so much for having me, Dave. I'm excited to be here.
You got great success at a pretty young age. Way to go. Congratulations. Proud of you. And I think part of that was looking at your story. I'm reading into it, but you tell me if I'm wrong, that it's a little bit of a Simon Sinek thing. You knew your why. And so as a fairly young person, you're dialed in and you get on a plane and you head to Uganda, one-way ticket. Tell me the story.
You know, in some ways, I was very dialed in. In some ways, I was very dialed out. The world was very unknown as far as what shape it would take. But you're right. What I was dialed in on was my why, which at the time, I was 22 years old. I just graduated with a master's degree in journalism. I would have told you that I was very passionate about global gender inequality and specifically issues facing women and girls living in extreme poverty or in conflict and post-conflict zones. So I had this thing that I said I cared about, but I graduated from college and I'm in my first corporate job and I'm kind of doing the thing and I'm looking at my life and I'm going, okay, you say you care about something. You have a lot of knowledge about it. You can sure run your mouth a lot about it. You have a lot of opinions. But I had this moment very early on where I realized that having opinions about something is very different than being passionate about something. To be passionate about something, your life actually has to be impacted by it. Actually, the root word of passion is pati, which means to suffer for, actually. You have to sacrifice for it. And so I had this moment where I was like, you have opinions, not passion. And if you want to grow a life of passion, what you actually need are relationships and community, and you need your actual life and world to be impacted by the things that you say that you care about. And when I looked at my world and the trajectory that I was on, I was like, oh, well, these two things are not impacted at all. And so I bought a one-way plane ticket, quit my corporate job in the height of the recession, and I moved to Uganda. And this is where I become less laser focused. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a job. Really, my only goal, my KPI, if you will, for that season of life was to make one single friend, was to say, start building a relationship and community with folks that you say you actually care about, and then we'll see where things go from there.
And out of that, the whole fashion thing is birthed? That's so cool.
That was the beginning of the tale. So I showed up in Uganda. I don't have a job. I don't have a plan. I don't have an invitation. I'm literally wandering around being like, do you want to be my friend? Hi, my name is Liz. And I start making friends and I start building community and investing in relationships. And through that process, I ended up meeting an incredible group of female scholars in between high school and university. Top 5% of female scholars in the entire country, but all of them came from backgrounds of extreme poverty. So they're testing into the best schools in the country, but they can't afford to go. And so all of a sudden, this huge issue, right, that can be very overwhelming, like global gender inequality, becomes pretty small. It's like, okay, here's 25 of the brightest girls in the country. Now they're my friends. Surely there's something that we could do to bridge this gap between high school and university. And so I tried a bunch of different things. They all failed. I tried to start a chicken farm. I went down a couple different paths, and then
I'm kind of glad the chicken farm thing didn't work out.
Dave, you and me both. And honestly, the reason it didn't work is because I dreaded chickens. Like, it sparked no joy for me. I would wake up in the morning and be like, no, I am not the girl for the job. Even if this is the best way to solve the problem, and I actually deeply believe in investing in agriculture, specifically in developing economies, that's good for some people. That didn't work for me. And so next up, I tinkered and was reminded of these pair of sandals that I had made when I was in college. And my friend from back home was like, I don't know, is that something that you could make or do and sell back home? And I was like, let's try that. And spent months traveling around East Africa on the back of a motorcycle, sourcing raw materials, trying to figure out how to manufacture footwear in a landlocked country, figured it out, and then hired 3 young women, Mary, Mercy, and Rebecca, and made them a promise that changed the whole trajectory of all of our lives. I said, if you make these sandals for the next 9 months, I promise I'll go home and sell them. And I promise that you'll go to college in the fall.
Wow.
And they were like, okay. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And that's how it was all born.
Wow. Liz Bohannon, she was the founder and CEO of the fashion brand Seiko. She'll be one of our speakers at Entree Leadership. So you take so we've got that in common. I sold books out of the trunk of my car, and you're selling sandals out of the trunk of your car when you got home, huh?
Quite literally. One of my favorite pictures is one that my husband snapped of me in our first year of business. We were stuck in really, really bad standstill traffic outside of LA. And I had like 400 pairs of sandals I needed to sell at this event. And we are in gridlock traffic. And I'm getting real anxious that we're going to miss the event. I got to sell these sandals. And so I'm like, put the car in park, babe. He's like, what? And I was like, we have sandals we have to sell. And so I get out of the car on the side of the highway, it was quite door-to-door sales, knocking car door to car door. People had nothing better to do. That's a captive audience. Managed to sell a handful of sandals there on the side of Highway 1. So yes, I was literally selling sandals out of the back of my car.
You're working the intersection. I mean, that's the whole thing there. Wow. And that all blows up into becoming this massive fashion brand.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It might look like it blew up. We all know behind the scenes, there's no silver bullet. There was not a single day where I was like, wow, this is just growing faster than I can handle. And it's all so easy. Every single bit of our growth came from, obviously, a lot of blood, sweat, tears, hard work. But yeah, we managed to grow a pretty significant company that ended up having a presence truly all across the globe. We started in East Africa, expanded to Asia, South and Central America, North Africa, to really support and build a network of artisan suppliers who are doing incredible work in their community but need access to a market. So only about 2% of people in our global supply chain earn a living wage.
Wow.
So if you are a consumer, you participate in that, right? And we all have choices. One of the things that I love to say is like we vote with our dollars.
Mm-hmm.
How we spend our money is a vote for how we want the world to work. And we want to make sustainable, ethical, fair trade fashion accessible, on trend, fun, and easy to shop.
Questions that we always want answered. I always want answered when I'm looking at someone who's done something globally the way you have is, if you went back and you boiled it down to 1, 2, 3, 4 principles, whatever it is, that caused you to be able to pull this off, what's the first things that come to mind?
You know, you kind of led with it, Dave. For me, being connected to my why was the driving force. Like, listen, you don't get out of your car on the side of Highway 1 and risk
life and
humiliation doing door-to-door sales unless you really believe in the work that you are doing. And so I think for some entrepreneurs, just growing a profitable, successful company is enough of a why, right? Whether it's because they get to build a team or they have a product that they want to see exist in the world. For me, it really was business, and specifically fashion, was a means to an end. Like, I had made a promise to these 3 young women. I wanted to do something. I wanted my life to, in some way, shape, or form, help contribute to closing that global gender equality gap. And running a company, as you know, it is so hard. It is it is by far the most difficult thing that I've ever done. And so for me, being incredibly in touch with my why and the reason that I'm doing it and continually reminding myself of that has been a huge factor in being able to stick at it and really maintain a sense of energy and passion for it. The next would be, I think I was really down on myself when I showed up in Uganda with only a goal of making a friend, right? That's like, that doesn't sound very serious. That's not great strategic planning. It doesn't sound very fancy or impressive. In hindsight, I can actually see that not having my idea going into this new situation was one of the biggest gifts, because I think oftentimes we can get really excited about these ideas and they kind of stay in our head and we get super attached to them and we start thinking like, this is a great idea and everybody's going to love it. And then we start sharing our idea or we take it to market and we're so attached to the idea that we actually don't do a great job of listening to feedback and letting our idea kind of change and grow and evolve. It's kind of like, this is what I have to offer. I'm going to force you to like it. I'm going to keep trying to sell you on this product that you may or may not actually be interested in. We get real clouded sometimes by our passion if we're passionate about the wrong part of our business. And so I think in hindsight, what was a huge asset to me was like, I don't care. Like chicken farms, sandals, fashion, like the product to me didn't matter. The mission that I wanted to accomplish did. And what that led me to do is to be very open to feedback, receive it, and then pivot really quickly until I got to a place where I was like, oh, this is actually something that the market is interested in. I wasn't like super, super attached. The idea itself wasn't precious. And so I think I was able to iterate and evolve and land on a really good idea faster than a lot of people can, because I was like, I don't care. I just want something that works.
You know, that goes with something I heard you say that I really like. You've said before that dreaming small can be more impactful than dreaming big, and I completely agree with that, but I want to hear your take on it.
Yeah. Listen, you cannot open up Instagram or walk down the self-help aisle or go to an inspirational conference without somebody telling you to dream big, right? It's just ubiquitous kind of self-help culture. And if you've known me for like 10 seconds, you would know I'm all about like doing big things and dreaming big. But here's my problem. There's two groups of people who are already dreaming big and don't need somebody to tell them to go out and dream big. They're like, I'm good. I'm pursuing something big. Then there's another group of people who are not dreaming big. They are feeling stuck. They're feeling overwhelmed, and they're feeling kind of like left behind because they haven't figured out their big dream. I don't think it helps to tell those people just over and over again, like dream big, dream big. I think it actually leads to that sense of overwhelm. What I think is actually really powerful is when we give people permission or maybe even instruction to actually dream small, because most people have some sort of dream. They might think it's small. They might think it's insignificant. They might think it's something that nobody else cares about. But I'm convinced if we actually stop waiting for like the big, huge, impressive idea or opportunity to emerge, and instead we go like, what is it? What is the little thing that lights me up, that gets me excited? And if I start treating that little dream like it's a big dream and it deserves to be invested in and committed to, that is what kind of unlocks us from this state of paralyzed, like waiting, and maybe big dreaming is something for somebody else out there. And it actually allows us to get into the process of creating.
Well, I think sometimes people get, when they've got a dream that they can digest, they actually step into action. And sometimes if the dream is too big, it swallows them and they do nothing. They're overwhelmed and they stand in the middle of their dream. And then we call them with derision a dreamer. Like, I don't want you marrying my daughter. You're a dreamer. You know, that's not something you want to have. So that's the wrong kind of dreaming. And so I love what you're saying there. Liz Bohannon is our guest. She's the founder and CEO of the fashion brand Seiko Designs, and now the Chief Growth Officer of Noonday Collection. She'll be one of our speakers in Denver in May 18 through 21 in the spring here for our Entree Leadership Summit, along with a bunch of others. One of the people on the stage in Denver will be our mutual friend John Maxwell, who's described you as a transformational leader. You've said that the goal of a leader is to be someone who is constantly moving through the cycles of learning. Pretty much know that all leaders are readers. All leaders are coming to conferences like you and I are going to be at. We're all doing these things all the time. Talk about how important that is as you've watched it through your business growth.
Yeah. So my whole concept of beginner's pluck is really this idea that no matter where we are in the leadership journey, we should be just as intentional about channeling our inner beginner as we are about pursuing expertise or mastery. So throughout the leadership journey, the stakes become higher and higher, right? Assuming you have a level of success, you start to gain momentum, you have employees, you have people that are looking up to you, you have stakeholders. Something that starts to happen is the more we kind of associate ourselves as like we're getting further along, we're achieving, we're being successful, we're becoming experts. We also become less curious, less creative, less innovative. We start kind of acting out of this fear of preserving our image as somebody who's really successful and knows what they're doing. And we have a lot of forces that are telling us that we should do that. Obviously, mastery and expertise and success are great things to pursue. In tandem, we need to be pursuing a spirit and a posture of an inner beginner, of going, I'm going to continue to step into spaces that I haven't figured out yet. We call that the stage of conscious incompetence, where you're like, I am aware that I don't know this field or this new technology that's developing or this new cultural shift that's happening that's impacting my customers or my employees.
And I'm going to do it anyway.
When we show up and
we're going to do it anyway.
Right. We're going to do it anyway. The whole like adage of like, fake it till you make it, whatever. There's some, you can argue for it, but I think it is much more powerful to own being like, I'm a beginner. I am showing up truly with a beginner's mind, with a sense of curiosity. If I am the person in the room who simply is willing to ask the best questions versus has to have all of the answers and have it all figured out, I actually think long-term, I'm going to be more well-suited to create solutions that are more effective, innovative, and then ultimately bring other people along for the ride.
Yeah, it keeps Scrappy going. I mean, I'm a boomer that's 64 years old, and I own a company that has 600 of our 1,100 people are building digital products that I can't spell. And I'm sitting in the room with these people, and they're using acronyms like they're in the military or something. I have no idea what they're talking about, and they work for me. And so I have to be constantly inner beginner. I have to constantly be entrepreneurial. And I'm a little bit scared and scrappy all the time in my own place. But I tell you what, I think you've got to do that because things move too fast. And I think that's an okay place to be. You don't have to be completely in control and know everything to be the leader. As a matter of fact, it can be quite the opposite.
And I think when the leadership owns their inner beginner, what that actually does is it signals to everybody else in the ecosystem or organization, it's okay not to have the answer. It's okay to try things. It's okay to show up with a posture of curiosity, of learning, of being teachable. And that is what we want to model.
Amen. Amen. Liz Bohannon, the founder and CEO of the fashion brand Seiko Designs, one of our speakers at Denver, as I mentioned, May 18th, I can't get the date right, 18th through the 21st, 2025, EntreLeadership Summit. You can still get a ticket. There's not many left, but EntreLeadership.com/summit. We'd love to have you. If you don't get your ticket soon, you will have what's called FOMO. And you will not be, it won't be fear of missing out. You'll just be missing out. It'll be that simple. So I look forward to spending time with you. You're an amazing lady and an amazing leader, a powerful force in the entrepreneurial landscape, and we're honored to have you on our stage and look forward to getting to be good friends in the future.
Can't wait.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Dave.
Is the EntreLeadership Podcast. This is the EntreLeadership Podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm your host, Dave Ramsey. Ryan is in Milwaukee. Hey, Ryan, how are you?
Great, sir. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
You too, man. How can I help?
I'm a partial business owner of a custom material manufacturer that has 85 members that did $26 million in revenue last year. And my question is, I'm having a hard time getting my sales team to build lasting relationships with our customers, and I'm wondering how to incentivize that.
What is it again you produce?
Overhead cranes.
Wow. So you own them and lease them out, or you make them?
We make them and put them into facilities. It's the ones that run in the
so a factory will place an order to put an overhead in there that works every day?
Yes, sir.
And never moves again. It's not a portable thing. Okay. Wow.
Correct.
$26 million worth of cranes. Okay, so your sales guy walks in. I'm trying to understand how this works, so walk with me here. Your sales guy walks into a new factory or finds out there's a new factory going in, and it's being outfitted. The building's being built by a commercial contractor, and it's being outfitted by equipment people like you guys, and you guys get word of that, and the sales guy calls on, does he call on the contractor? Who's he call on?
Sometimes it's direct to the end user. Sometimes it's the builders for the building. So there's a bunch of different ways that we're able to get to them.
Yeah, okay. So sometimes it's the commercial contractor that's building the building, and sometimes it's the actual manufacturing company.
Correct.
Okay. And then once that guy or gal makes that crane sale, the only opportunity for him to make another sale to that customer is if they build another plant.
Either that or if they add on to their existing facilities or even on the same systems themselves.
Okay, so accessorize or expansion or brand new plants. Okay, so why is it important for the particular sales guy to have the relationship? Because he's supposed to be managing the accessorizing and the expansions too?
Yes.
Is there a maintenance contract that goes with this too?
We don't actually do maintenance contracts. In identifying what I think is the problem is that we've established a system that incentivizes them to get the purchase order, but trying to build on past that is not something that we're actually doing unless there's another sale. So that's where I guess the basis of my question is.
So for them to accessorize or expand, your sales guys kind of forget them because they've moved on to the next date.
Yes.
Is the profit margin on the accessorizing or the expansion better or worse than the initial crane?
It's the same.
So it's more about customer satisfaction because those extra orders are smaller orders, aren't they?
They can be. It's about our philosophy is the idea of trying to be their provider for everything, and it's just putting in some of those.
If you don't do that, you let a competitor in the door.
Yes.
Danger. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Well, I mean, there's only two ways to do it, carrot or stick, right? Carrot is pay and or recognition and awards for customer satisfaction of existing customers. So John over here, he makes the sale, and of all the customers that he has ever sold, he has a 92% callback with all of his customers, and he wins that award and gets a $10,000 bonus this year or whatever. And we do it in front of everybody at the Christmas party. And or you pay a higher commission rate after the big sale is made on the little sales and the add-ons in order to keep the competitor out and keep your guy engaged. That's carrot.
Okay.
You could put carrots in front of them, right? I probably would do some of that, but I also would use stick. And stick is your job is to call back and make sure they're okay. You don't get to keep your job if you don't call back and make sure they're okay, because that's the definition of your job. That is your job description, your key performance, your key performance indicator, your KPI. Your KRA, your key results area, we call them in job descriptions here. So your KRA is not only to make initial sales, it's to make sure that the customer is so happy after that that every freaking screwdriver that they need for this thing they buy from us, ongoing for the rest of their lives and your life. That is your job. If someone else makes a sale inside that plant, by definition, you are not doing your job. And by definition, I'm going to hold you accountable to that. And by definition, holding you accountable means if you do it too many times, you don't get to work here anymore because it is your job and you're not doing your job. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But we just have to be real clear. And you have to repeat that, like, I don't know, every day. And then you actually have to follow up and hold them accountable. Like, how long has it been? I want to see your call reports on old customers. I want to see that you've contacted them. File it in this. Have you got a sales system? I'm sure using Salesforce or something else, right?
No, we don't.
How are you tracking your salespeople's activities?
It's at this point, it's a manual system that I'm asking them to fill the information in.
Okay, I would pick up. How many salespeople you got?
7 direct sales to customers, but then we also do a lot of work with other crane companies to expand our reach.
Yeah, I think you guys need a sales system. I think you need a piece of software, Salesforce or somebody else, where they enter every contact that they have with a customer. And you can develop patterns then as to what results in a sale. And it also helps you address this issue because we know whether they've contacted and followed up on existing customers for accessorizing and expansion or not. And if you've not done that, I'm going to read a report. It's going to hit my desk, and I'm looking at John. John does a lot of first-time sales really well, but John has never followed up with a customer in the last month and a half, existing customers. So me and John are going to have a talk one-on-one. It's not threatening. I'm not being mean or sarcastic, but I get the opportunity to hold him accountable, but you don't have the data to hold him accountable right now.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
So I think you start talking to him about it and go, guys, you've been doing a really good job on this, and we as a company have been doing a really good job on sale number 1, but sale number 2, 3, 4, and 5 we suck at, and I'm not okay with us sucking at that. So I'm going to help you. We're going to put this system in place to where you can log in and we can see who's doing that. And by the way, you can show them how much money they are making from sale 2, 3, 4, and 5, even if you don't change the rate. You can make the sale to the salesman that this is a valuable activity to them. That make sense?
Yes, sir.
But you got to have data to do it. It can't just be this vague thing of we don't want the competitor in and this vague thing of we want to make sure we follow up. No, I mean, if you're actually logging it and then over a period of a year or two, you say, hey, look, we did $26 million total. Of that, hey, look at this, $7 million is follow-up sales. And so your personal income is 15, 20% of it is based on follow-up sales. So it's worth doing, dude. And this is me talking to my salesman if I'm you. But I got to be able to show them that actually occurred in their paycheck, and that I don't even have to change their commission rate to cause that to happen then. So, yeah, I think your big thing is you need a system here to follow up and to push them through. Great business, man. I love that. Thank you for the call. Very fun talking to you. Hey, folks, remember, better a wary warrior than a quivering critic. This world needs more high-quality leaders, so take courage and lead. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thanks for listening to the Entree Leadership Podcast.
My first guest, Donna, says she never hated a person as much as she hates her spoiled, ungrateful, disrespectful daughter-in-law. Now, Donna's son Brad and his wife Jen say they've had it with Donna's abuse, and they cut the cord 4 months ago. Take a look.
I hate my daughter-in-law with a passion.
The problems with my mother-in-law are ruining my life.
I'm being torn between the woman I love and the mother who raised me.
My mother-in-law makes me feel worthless.
Jen hates me. I know it. I don't care.
My mother-in-law is abusive, rude, and demanding of my family.
I think my daughter-in-law's a bitch, a lazy bitch. Jen was raised to be a spoiled brat. Jen told my son that she wouldn't accept anything less than a 7-carat diamond ring. A 7-carat diamond ring was over $100,000. Jen has no concept for money. Her parents gave her anything she wanted. I have worked my butt off for everything that we have acquired.
My mother had a rough upbringing. My mom thinks Jen is spoiled because she grew up in a privileged family.
Jen is trying to keep me from seeing my granddaughter. The last time I saw my granddaughter, Olivia, was June 2012. And I've only seen her 5 times and not more than 5 minutes at a time.
The day after Olivia was born, Donna came to the hospital and she held Olivia, and then she posted a picture of me, Brad, and Olivia saying biggest to the left, referring to me.
I never had that picture or said that.
When I saw that picture, I wasn't shocked. Was I hurt? Yeah.
That is not a word that I would use, no.
You're upset. Tell me why.
I just don't understand how she hates me so much.
But you feel that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you feel that she really hates her.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Do you think that disrespects you?
Yeah, it disrespects me a lot.
Yeah, because she's treating your wife that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you hate her?
Yes, I do.
But you don't remember anything. I watched your tape piece. You said you don't remember anything about that comment that you made on Facebook. You said you just don't remember doing that.
I did not make that comment.
So you didn't make that comment?
I did not.
Okay. Well, what is this we're looking at? It says biggest I know, the one on the left. That would be you. And this is from your face. Did somebody hack your Facebook page?
It's altogether possible. My sister-in-law does it all the time.
She hacks your Facebook page?
Not my Facebook page. She does it for a living.
She's a hacker?
Yes, she works for the federal government.
You're going to accuse Aunt Kate
No, I'm
in
not saying
Virginia
that. I'm saying that
of
somebody else.
hacking your phone.
Are you really?
I'm telling you, I did not put that
See, that's
on.
kind of insulting to my intelligence.
I'm not insulting your intelligence, but I
Okay,
did not post that.
Okay, who took it down yesterday?
I would like to know how they saw it, because I'm not friends with them on Facebook. They blocked me from Facebook.
Okay, well, we'll ask them that in a minute, but first answer my question. Who took it down yesterday?
I did, because they brought it to my attention that it was on there, and I didn't put it on there.
Okay, but you took it down.
I took it down, yes.
Okay, but we got a screen grab of it before you took it down, because I wanted to show it to you today.
Right, and as soon
And I
as
had
they...
a sneaking suspicion you were going to take it down before you got here. I was right.
I didn't write it down.
It was up there for a year. It was up there for a year, and you take it down the day before you come to the Dr. Phil show. It's there for 364 days, and then you took it down the day before you came to the Dr. Phil show.
It wasn't up there for 364 days, and I can verify that because I know my friends saw it on Facebook, and it wasn't on there.
Okay, but you didn't put it up there.
I did not put it up there.
Okay.
I will
Do you
take a
believe
lie
that?
detector test right now to say that I did not put it
Well,
up
I don't
there.
have one on me, but I might take you up on that.
Sure.
But listen, I'm asking you to help me here. So you're saying you didn't put that up there.
I did not.
Let me see if I've got these excerpts right from your emails. And I've got the actual emails here. And there's a reason that I'm saying I'm doing this for a purpose. These are just excerpts. Dr. Phil, I hate my daughter-in-law. I feel this hatred every day. I can't believe how much I hate her. Hate is a big word. Hate.
Yes.
You hate her. Is there a way to get past the hatred? How can I get over the extreme hatred I have towards my daughter-in-law? I am so angry over not being able to see my granddaughter, I can't function. I am so sick of her, I don't know what to do. I have been unable to sleep going over everything. I have never hated a person as much as this. How do I get over this hatred? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14 times you hatred. I'm not sure. Do you hate the Taliban that much?
Probably not.
That's a lot of hatred for one little girl. What has she done to you?
She, since my son was building a house when they were dating, she shows up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She sleeps until 11.
Okay.
Gets up, gets ready, and then she comes over to work on the house.
Okay, now you're a nurse, right?
No, not then.
No, keep in mind, we're dating at the time, not even engaged. And what responsibility does she have to come to my house, which I'm building, and help me out? She's not obligated to do that. And I didn't ask that of her.
No, and I was over at your house helping you, and you didn't ask me either.
Look, does this boil down to the fact that you think she's spoiled?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, are you spoiled?
Yeah,
So you're spoiled?
not rotten, but spoiled.
Not rotten, but spoiled. So did you come from a nice family?
Yeah,
Were
I've been very blessed.
they an affluent family?
Yeah,
And so you had some nice things in life?
but I've always worked ever since I could drive. Always.
You've always
Sometimes
had a
two
job?
jobs. Always.
And you went to college?
Except for when I was in the actual College of Nursing for like a year and a half, I didn't have a job, I think.
Are you a nurse?
Yeah,
And do you like that? Are you good at it?
I'm very good at it.
So you're a caregiver and,
Yeah.
and you work at that?
Yeah.
My mother was in the hospital, and her coworkers said, "Oh, your Brad's horrible family, huh?
I wasn't even working when she was there.
No, you weren't working, but your coworkers said that's what you called us, the horrible family.
That
Well,
doesn't make sense.
I would think you kind of qualify, don't you?
That came in the last year.
What you want in your life is you want to have a relationship with your granddaughter and you want to have a relationship with your son, right?
How can you ever expect to
Wouldn't
have
that be great?
if you don't want to have a relationship with my wife?
But that is what you want, right? You want to be able to see the grandbaby
I would like to see my granddaughter.
and you want to have a relationship with your son.
Yes.
Do you realize if we rented a conference room here in Hollywood and we met and you said, okay, Dr. Phil, how can I make sure I never have to deal with this little munchkin and I never have to deal with my son? I finally got him out of the house. How can I fix it where I never have to deal with him or that kid that he had? We would come up with a strategy of alienating his wife. That would be our strategy. That's what I would recommend. If you didn't ever want to see him again and you didn't want to deal with that baby, I would say attack his wife. That'll get him every time. That's what we would come up with. You have come up with the best plan for making sure you don't get what it is you say you want. That can't be an accident. So what's really going on here? Because I don't believe that you may be a lot of things, but dumb is not on the list. So what's really going on here?
No, I've helped my family in every way possible. And I didn't have a problem with my daughter-in-law until the last year.
We're not talking about that, and I'm not asking you how good of a martyr you are. I'm asking you said what you want is a relationship with your grandbaby and your son, but you have chosen a tact that guarantees you won't have that. You're smart enough to know that. Tell me what's going on.
I didn't know she hated me. She said that she hated me. She did, outright, the last time I was there. She told me she hated me.
She hates the way that you treat her.
No,
doesn't
she
hate
says,
you.
I've hated you since the first time you hollered at me when you were working on the house.
Why was she not invited to the baby shower?
Because she hates me. It's basically what it came down to, the threats.
Tell me about the threats.
She ended up billing Brad for $26,000 for digging a basement on our last house. When she billed us this last time, she threatened to put a lien on our property, which we were on a construction loan at the time, so we could have lost our house. The first, with the first fights and stuff, she was trying to destroy my marriage, and she didn't want me to marry him. And being completely honest, that's the only reason why we've ever had problems together. It's because of her.
Did you not in June of this year when we went to the funeral? You came up to me and hugged me. So,
I've always tried to be nice.
yes.
I've always tried to forgive and move past.
Well, if
all
you
the
wanted
mean
to,
things you've said.
if you wanted to forgive and forget, then you wouldn't have said that you hated me since the first time I hollered at you.
I know I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I know I
You
didn't
said- you
because I was
also
very
said you
careful
didn't
with my
throw the
words
presents.
because I didn't want to be that person.
I
Did
brought
you
a,
say to her, my son can marry you, but I don't have to like you?
I never said that.
Did she say that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, now look, somebody's lying here. Come on. I can't help y'all if you're just up here with a CYA attitude. Look, I'm up here talking to Dr. Phil. I'm going to cover my ass. I can't help you if nobody owns anything. Are they lying? Did you just not say that?
She's a liar. She is. You have to. You didn't talk to everybody that's involved in this issue. My mom will
No, you're
tell you.
here. I don't need others. I'm talking to you. You don't need a posse. I'm just
Everybody
talking to you.
can. Everybody else can back me up. She told. I brought a gift over for the baby in June. And
Let's look at the context
Do you
of the
leave
story
voicemails
first.
calling her a bitch?
Not that I recall.
Pardon me?
Not that I recall.
Not that you recall. Wow. Okay, let's take a break and everybody take a deep breath. All right, next, Jen and Brad say they live in fear of Donna because of her rage and that it has intensified with every event that's taken place. Things are so bad, they say they now sleep with a gun beside their bed. And I want to de-escalate this situation here. I want these people to be a family.
My mother is irrational, overbearing, and throws tantrums. One time, we were installing the hardwood floors. Jen's brother told her to close the door.
He said to me that, shut the frickin' door, the air conditioning's on. His comments to me were like a slap in the face, and it set me over the edge.
And she stormed out of the house and left us to finish the job. Later on, she called me and left me a voicemail of the sounds of her throwing my tools out of their storage shed.
Hey, I just wanted you to hear. There's a paint sprayer. Can you hear that? Next is a tablecloth.
Well, Donna says she absolutely cannot stand her daughter-in-law, hates her, and she wrote 5 emails asking if there's a way for her to ever control the rage she feels for her daughter-in-law. And the answer is yes, of course you can and need to control the rage. Brad said things are so bad that they have taken drastic measures and now sleep with a gun to protect themselves from his mother.
The fighting with my mom has gotten so bad that we have purchased firearms to protect ourselves. I own a .40 caliber pistol. I also have a 20 gauge pump shotgun. This one was given to me by my grandfather. Jen learned to shoot from a friend of ours.
This is where our friends taught me how to shoot guns for the first time. I hate guns, so that was very scary for me. The whole time I was saying, this is creepy.
My mother has never been physically violent with us, but the rage that she has makes it a possibility for us. We started locking our doors. We changed the code on the garage door. I was afraid my mom was gonna barge in the door. You have to protect family.
Okay, so y'all now have guns in the house?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I've spent a lot of time around, I'm from Texas, and I've spent a lot of time around guns, and my wife is actually a FBI certified marksman. You don't play with guns, and let me tell you the most likely thing that's going to happen, the most likely person who's going to get shot with that gun is you. You don't need to be having a gun around. You're not prepared, you're not ready to be, you're not going to shoot somebody other than yourself with a gun. That's not a good idea. She is not safe with a gun. Take it from me, this is what I do. This is not safe. You don't want to be, what are you going to shoot your mother?
No, and I said that from the beginning.
Well, then get those guns out of there. She's not prepared to be handling a gun.
We didn't buy a gun for the specific purpose of shooting my mother, no.
See, that's good news. You should, that's the thing on the plus side here.
The incidents kind of leading up to getting the gun opened our eyes to the fact that we need to be able to protect ourselves better.
Yes, you want to do that, but not with firearms. That's inappropriate here. Do you agree you have an anger problem with her, or do you have an anger problem in general?
No, I have an anger problem with her.
With her. Brad's mother recently left this angry voicemail for Brad and Jen.
My mom does call and leave threatening voicemails.
You've eliminated us from your life. So I'm just abiding by your wishes, and I don't care. I don't want to be hurt anymore. I don't care. You guys can all go to hell.
I have a recording of my mom saying that she doesn't want to be my mother anymore.
So I'm eliminating you all from my life, and you can take your daughter and do whatever you want.
She'll also send text messages, she'll send emails, she'll write letters. I finally had enough and called her and told her to stop calling, to stop writing, to stop.
I don't care. My heart is closed. I don't care about anyone anymore.
Okay, now, is that a truthful voicemail? Do you mean what you said in that voicemail?
Yes, I do.
No, come on, you don't. See, that was a litmus test question.
See,
Donna, you don't mean that.
I would do anything for my kids.
But you,
And I've done
You
a
don't
lot
answer,
for my kids.
You don't
No,
answer questions.
No, I will answer your question.
Then please do. The question was, do you mean what you said in an email? You're out of my life, you're eliminated, and I don't care. I don't care about you. I don't care anymore. I don't care.
I got to the point that I don't want to be hurt anymore. And so I put up a brick wall. I turn off my feelings so nobody can hurt me.
The question was, is that a truthful email where you said, I don't care?
At that time, yes. I'm tired of being hurt.
Is it true today?
My brick wall is still up.
Why are you wasting your time and my time together? You know you care. You care desperately. That's why you are behaving so desperately. That's why you are clinging so hard, pursuing so aggressively, trying so desperately to change the dynamic here because you care so much. You are hurt. You feel rejected. Your son has another woman in his life. She is everything that you don't want for him. You think she uses him. You think she abuses him. You think she doesn't carry her own weight. You think she doesn't care for him and take care of him and do for him the way you have and could and would. Instead, you think she's just a parasite that drains him and takes from him and bleeds him dry. And you care very much about all of that. You miss this child that you want, that's an extension of your son that you want to have a connection with. You miss your son, you want to have a connection with him. And if you could just get rid of her, everything would be fine. You care very much about this, which is why you are so desperately angry. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. But Jen, I mean, she feels the same way about me. Because, yes, she does.
And we're not talking about her, we're talking about you. You are a master at deflection. The problem is I'm better. What's good about her?
I don't know a whole lot.
Come on,
that's
it won't
good
break
about
your jaw. If it does, I'll wire it shut for you. What's good about her?
I don't know much that's good about her.
Oh, come on.
She's spoiled. And
Look, my wife is spoiled. I love spoiling my wife.
I love spoiling my grandsons, too.
There you go. What's wrong with that? You love somebody, you want to do nice things for them. I'm glad that you had a nice life.
And I thought I
hope
did.
you continue to have a nice life.
And I thought I did nice things for them. I was there.
So what's good about her?
She supported them when they were building the house.
There you go. What else?
I don't know. I suppose she probably takes good care of my granddaughter. I wouldn't know because I don't get to see her.
Oh, boy, you were so close. You were so close. Is she intelligent?
Well, she went to college. She got a degree.
Hey, she's got a nursing degree. Let me tell you, I've taken a lot of the courses they have to take in anatomy and physiology and biochemistry, and this is not easy stuff. So she's got to be intelligent to have passed that. And then you have to pass a licensing exam. Nurses are very sophisticated professionals. You have to give her that. At least academically, you have to say that she's very sophisticated. Not based on opinion, but based on objective. Let me tell you, nurses are the absolute backbone of the healthcare system. And she's had to pass very sophisticated objective measures. So you have to admit, based on objective measures, she's intelligent, right?
Sure.
What else do you know about someone that's done this? You know that she has the ability to set a long-term goal, meet deadlines, stick with it, and achieve that long-term goal. You know that about her, right? Because when you go to college, you have to get along with people that don't have to get along with you, your professors. You have to make deadlines. You have to work long hours and do practicums and externships and all of that type thing. You have to perform, so that means you got to have a lot of motivation. Am I true? Huh?
Yeah.
I've got two sisters that are nurses, by the way. So I know a lot about this. So you know that about her, right? See, if you just look, you could find those things. She's very articulate. Would you agree with that? She got great word power.
But you have all the good things. You know,
Oh,
You're
it can be turned to, it can be turned to evil.
bypassing all the old
No,
or the
I'm not saying
problems.
even the good things could be turned to evil. I'm just saying, but you have to acknowledge they're there, right? She's articulate.
Right.
Do you agree she's very attractive?
Yes.
What a handsome couple. I bet they make great looking babies. So aren't there some really nice things? And does your son love her?
Yes, he does.
So aren't you thrilled that he found someone in this world that he loves and that loves him back? I mean, wouldn't you celebrate that? Isn't that a victory for him? Isn't that what we want for our children? I have a son that's married that's about your age, and he just loves his wife and has 2 little grandkids. And I celebrate every day that he found a woman that he loves and that they have babies and are healthy and happy and just make a great family. I celebrate that every day. Robin celebrates that every day. And when we get together as a family and all, it's here they are. That's my oldest son, Jay, and that's his wife, Erica, and their 2 little babies, London and Avery. And you want to be in that kind of picture, right?
Well, even before all this happened, she wouldn't come over to our house for family meals or
That's a yes, right?
any Christmas. No.
That's a yes. You want to be in that kind of picture.
She doesn't want to be part of our family.
But that's a yes. You want to be in that kind of picture, right?
Sure.
And you want to be in that kind of picture, right? You want to have an extended family where you guys can love and support each other and go have girl talk and stuff like that and kind of gang up on him sometimes and
Well,
have fun.
you have to love him because when they got married, he wrote all the thank you notes for all the gifts.
It's not true. He did for your family. I did for
my
mine.
family, yes.
I did
for
my
my family.
And I have a huge.
You don't miss a chance, do you?
I sent a gift to the baby shower. I did not get a thank you note.
Yeah.
I sent a gift. Even your godmother wasn't invited to the baby shower. Your godmother.
What'd you see? You sent a rocking horse or a rocking chair?
I gave them a rocking chair. She didn't
Brad
say
says his
thank
mother's
you.
erratic behavior has made him change the garage codes, lock his doors, and tell his neighbors to call the police if they see his mother on his property line.
I never had any issues with Jen until the last year. Jen is very beautiful. She's delicate.
There's just been so much hurt.
But she's very high maintenance. Jen's feelings are hurt constantly.
You know, I feel like it comes out in anger from her.
In the beginning, my mom really liked Jen and would even come to her defense.
Donna loved me in the beginning. Donna was supportive of me and Brad being together, but no, I don't think I'll ever trust her.
Well, Donna says she not only hates John Lauer, but if that is true, then why is she sabotaging her son's business on Facebook?
Donna has tried sabotaging Brad on Facebook several times.
She had posted that I do poor tile work. On a picture of our house, she put that it was cold and unfeeling. On a thread that I had going with a client, she had posted that kids are always costing their parents money. It got so bad that I banned her from my business page.
Did you do that?
They made a comment on Facebook that said, babies are sure expensive. And my comment was, kids are always expensive.
Well, I've got
Always
your comments.
expensive.
I'm asking you if you went on there and said he did shoddy work.
He did. He tiled my house.
I understand, but my question is, did you go on his Facebook page and say that he did shoddy work?
I made a comment that said my grout was coming out.
Let's,
No, that's not what you said. You said he did shoddy work. That is not an essay question. The question is, did you go on his Facebook and say he did shoddy work? That's a yes or no question. The answer is yes. I've read it. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And did you happen to mention the fact that the reason that the grout popped up was because your other son left the faucet run all night and the floor soaked up all the water and it popped all the tile back up?
Do I have to be here for this tile discussion?
You don't.
I don't think you're a bad tile guy.
Thank
If I
you.
had some tile work, I would call you, seriously. I mean, you seem like a very exacting young man, and I suspect you got a lot of direction and training from her, and you seem to me like you would be very buttoned up as a contractor.
I will take you on anytime you want. I can drive a dump truck.
I bet you can.
I can dig with a backhoe. I can use a skid loader. I can do anything that anybody asks of me.
I bet you can. That's why I said I would suspect that he had good direction from you. I was giving you a compliment. I wasn't trying to pick a fight. Don't you run a dump truck over me. Look, here's the thing. I want you to have a relationship with your family. I want you to have a relationship with this grandbaby. But you've got to understand you have made yourself very prickly. And listen, is she perfect? No, of course not. She's young. She's going to burn the turkey. She's going to say things she shouldn't say.
She has to cook it first. He cooks.
I clean.
Why do I like you?
Because I can come and I can dig your basement for you. I can put in a sewer lateral. I can do it all.
I don't know why I like you, because you're just obnoxious. There's a point at which you have to be back to common sense. You've got to recognize you got to go along to get along, and you have to be willing to just have an accepting spirit.
It's a two-way street,
It is a two-way street, but you're the adult here. You're the mother. You're
No,
the
she's an
matriarch.
adult,
I know,
too.
but you're the matriarch in this family. You're his mother, and I'm going to tell him some things here in a minute, but you've got to listen, when I started dating Robin, we're just 3 years apart. Everybody thinks she's a trophy wife because I've looked like this. No, seriously, I've looked like this since I was 12. And when I first went to date her the first time, you were 19?
Yes.
And I was 23 and looked exactly like I do right now. And so I rang the doorbell, and her daddy's like,
How old
"What the hell
is
you
he?
doing here, boy?" So I'm here to pick up your daughter. No, you're not. And so we had to pull out a driver's license. I'm only 3 years older. It's okay, But you know what? He made an effort. And it worked out. And I might not have been who he would have picked for her, but because she picked me, they made an effort and let me kind of grow on them, across time. Didn't turn out too bad, did it? We've been married almost 40 years. We've been together 43 years. But you've got to, every situation needs a hero, and you've got to make an effort here, and you've got to be forgiving here. And let me say to you, when you're married, it is your job to manage your people, and it's your job to manage your people. It's not your job to manage his people and his job to manage your people. We have to manage our own people because we brought them and we're the ones that have the history with them. So it's your job to manage your mother. And she needs to understand that you're in for a penny, in for a pound. I get the feeling that aside from this, that you two have a very nice relationship. A very loving relationship. And I got a feeling that aside from this, I'm not saying everything's perfect, but from everything we could learn in talking to y'all, I've been doing this a long time. Did we ask y'all a lot of questions or what? But I got the feeling that there's a lot of joy in this relationship and a lot of laughter in that home. And I'm so glad to hear that. I mean, aren't they a nice young couple? Seriously? And you should be really proud of that because you raised a very nice young man here, and he is a reflection on you. You get a lot of credit for raising a very nice young man here. And you should be proud of your mother, because aside from this particular pain that she's having of recognizing that there's another woman in her son's life that's kind of painful adjustment for her, your job is to manage her. And she needs to understand from you, Mom, I really love you. I want you in my life now and forevermore. But this is the next phase of my life. And I have an absolute, undivided loyalty to my wife.
Mm-hmm. And I've told these things.
And you draw from different accounts. You have a romantic love account that you draw from with your wife, and a maternal love account that you draw on from your mother. And those are completely separate. You know, loving her 100% still allows you to love her 100%. They're completely different. If it wasn't, it would be like really creepy. Those are completely different things. She is not at your expense at all, and she is not at your expense at all. They're very, very different. And if it comes down to, well, you just need to pick, you're going to lose 100 out of 100 times, or you need your head examined, because a man stands by his wife and family against all others. And if she chooses to be an adversary and forces that choice, it's an easy choice, right? You choose your wife and your child.
Absolutely.
And if you have to live in isolation, you do that. What you must do is just work hard and pray that she not create those ultimatums, and find ways to include your mother and support him in having a relationship with his mother. Be forgiving. She has said she hates you 9 ways from Sunday. She hates you. Wouldn't swerve the car if you were in the crosswalk. But she doesn't really mean that. It's just pain. She doesn't really hate you. I don't believe she hates you. She's just hurting, and she's scared, and so she's lashing out. Be understanding about that. And you be understanding that she's just a young wife and mother trying to find her way through this. But your loyalty is here, and it has to be.
Absolutely.
And I hope, and seriously, I would love for the two of y'all to sit down with a professional counselor and try to broker a peace. And I will make that arrangement for you if you will let me. You would participate in that, right? Say yes.
Yeah.
And say yes and mean it.
Yes, I will.
Okay? Would you do that?
I wanted to before.
That isn't the question.
I said I wanted to before, so why would I complain now?
We wouldn't be on TV if you said yes before.
Is that yes?
I did say yes
Oh,
before.
yeah,
but,
just
but
say
he
yes.
didn't want you there.
Just say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I think that family is so very important. And, you know, the truth is we live in a very different world than we used to. It's a much more transient world. It's a much more fast-paced world. And that means that family is a more important anchor than it's ever been. Now, I've written a book that's called Life Code, The New Rules for Winning in the Real World. And it is based on the fact that we do live in a different world. The challenges are different. The rules are different. And when the rules change, you got to throw out the rule book because there has to be a new one. And so I've written what I think is important. And I'm going to talk in that book and tell you about how the world really works. Not how you wish it worked, not how it should work, but how it really works. And you're going to read this and say, Dr. Phil, good grief, I can't believe you said some of this, because I'm promising you this is not politically correct and it is irreverent, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And it's going to be a truth that you need to hear.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.
Scott's with us in St. Louis. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Hi, Dave. Thanks so much for taking my call. It's such an honor to talk to you.
You too, man. What's up?
True. So my wife and I have been married for 26 years. We have 3 kids, and between us, we own 2 businesses, and my wife is a full-time teacher. We are suffering from being blessed too much and blessed on all fronts and paralyzed with all the options we have. My wife thinks something needs to change. We're too busy. She's stressed out. It says something needs to change, and we've got so many different ways we can go, and we can't figure it out. Business one is a treadmill operator web business that I do out of my home. I've been doing for 20 years. It brings in between $150,000 and $200,000 a year, almost all of that net profit.
That's your job.
Easiest thing in the world. That's my job. That's what I do 4 days a week.
So you're like a freelance web guy.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, all right, I got it.
And and been doing that. And I have a small team. Yeah, sometimes I have a programmer or two working for me, but
that's all contract.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Hourly. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Business 2 is a peak performer retail store. It's been around for 17 years. Pays us very little, about $50,000 a year we make. Its revenue is close to $1 million a year, but I work there literally 1 day a week, about 6 hours. My wife works maybe 8 hours a month there. It's sort of set it and forget it, just auto run. We've got a fantastic team of about 20 employees that run it, all part-timers, and the customers love us. The store runs great. Everything is perfectly fine there. But all this accumulates to stress in our lives. And my wife's a full-time teacher, as I mentioned. So we have some options. So for example, selling the store is one of the options. One of them is my wife keeps saying, why don't you go get a real job? And so you can get the health insurance. Exactly. So you can get the health insurance. I can quit my job and go work at the store. We've got lots of different ways we could go. What more can I tell you?
How long have you been making $150 to $200 a year at your job?
Probably almost the whole 20 years. It's been our primary source of income for 20 years.
Okay. Well, I mean, if she wants to go work at the store and quit her job, go buy some health insurance. You make $200K a year.
Yeah, there's one other thing that helps us, which is we have a tuition reduction for our kids who go to private school also where she teaches. So that's saving us about $20,000.
Yeah, but she's not going to have that if she quits her school.
Exactly.
And she wants to quit. And she wants to quit.
She kind of wants to quit, yeah.
You can't have both things. You can't quit and keep the tuition reimbursement. And you want to quit. So that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although she says shut down the store, if we sell the store, take back that money, and then she'll work and it'll be less stressful for her.
At school?
Correct.
So why is it stressful? She doesn't do anything over there.
I think it's one of those things, and as a business owner, it's always on the back of your mind. You're always, every time we go to dinner, that's what we talk about. Every time we're sitting around together, that's what we're talking about. There's always little decisions that need to be made. She is the president of the store, so she does get the final say-so and everything. So there are often times we're consulting with her saying...
So she's running the store, essentially, and she doesn't want the responsibility and the emotional stress that goes with that responsibility.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Because I'm guessing with her pay and the tuition reduction and the health insurance that her teaching job makes more than $50K.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, her pay is over $50K.
So why would she go to work for $50K and take a pay cut doing something she doesn't love?
Well, we're getting $50K now from the store. In theory, she would get a little more.
Well, but not
offset
much.
Some employees, yeah. But I mean, they're
you're just replacing some hourlies is all you're doing with your time there.
That's it.
You'd put your own butt on the floor, and that's not that's back into a treadmill situation.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I don't know.
Brokers
I get. Here's another way you could back into it. Sometimes we do this with our decisions around our house. Is 10 years from today, we are doing X. All right. What's that look like? What's your life look like? Okay.
Yeah.
One way is you're running the store, and you getting a real job is a ridiculous, insulting statement. You have a real job. You just happen to be self-employed, and you make a lot of money, more than she makes. That are two things combined. So that's insulting. Okay. Yeah. That's just her stress coming out. But just because you're self-employed doesn't mean you don't have a real job. That's silly. So anyway, put that aside. So your job stays in place because you didn't tell me anything that you dislike it, and it's the cash cow of the three things. So
yeah, I love it.
10 years from today, you're still doing this or some version of it, okay? 10 years from today, is she a teacher or a retail president?
I asked her that question because you had a similar question on this podcast a couple weeks ago. And I said, I bet Dave's going to ask me, what are you going to do? What do you want to do for 10 years from today? And she said, I want to be sitting on the beach in Florida, retired.
How old are y'all?
50. She's not even 50. She's mid-40s.
Okay. Okay. That was not one of the two options.
Yeah.
One of the two
I think that's
options
her
is
stress.
you're either a teacher or a third option is you're working doing something else. But that's, again, a facetious answer.
Mm.
I'm stressed out. I'm just going to put my feet in the sand. Well, that's not really what, you want to quit work completely. That's the job. Okay? Which means you're not going to be a teacher and you're not going to be, how old are your kids?
My youngest has 7 more years at this tuition reduction. He's 13. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's 13.
Okay. So then 10 years from now, she could quit her job. That's true.
Easily,
So,
yep.
maybe it's not a facetious answer. Maybe it's a real answer. I'll shut up. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so she does. So she works 10 more years as a teacher and then quits.
Sure.
And you sell the store now. That's one option. Or we quit teaching, and we buy some health insurance and we pay our own tuition. And she goes and accentuates and grows the store. And 10 years from now, you sell the store.
Sounds great.
Either one. Which one you want to do, honey?
I'm asking you. I'm asking you what you.
No,
think.
I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. This is you talking to your wife. Which one of these do you want to do?
Yeah.
Because you're telling me both of them are not cool. So somebody's leaving. Let's choose who's leaving. Teaching or store. And let's do that based on, I want to retire from this 10 years from today. Which one do I want to retire from? Teaching. I want to spend the last 10 years of my career teaching, or the last 10 years of my career before I retire on the beach. And my husband works as a web designer, and I retire on the beach from selling the store. I'm okay with either one. If you take on the store, your job is to not do 50,000, because 50,000 on $1 million sucks.
Yeah.
That's really tight margins.
Well, yeah.
You blink and you're losing money on that.
Good point.
So if we're going to take on the store's got to start doing better. It's kind of cute and cuddly now, but it's not a killer operation. And it needs to become a killer operation if we're going to keep it.
I like that.
So if we're going to go all in on the store, let's go all in and let's go make 150 on this puppy and get sales up and get margins up and tighten this thing up and get it going. And let's get the right kind of people on the floor. And it's no longer we're just a service to the community. We're actually going to try to make some money here and, all that stuff. So, yeah, I don't care which one y'all do. But I think the way Sharon and I would sit down and talk this through, or one of my leaders, if we were doing strategic plannings with a certain segment of Ramsey, what do we want this to be in 10 years? Closed? And we grow it and sell it off? What this piece of Ramsey? What do we want publishing to look like 10 years from now? We want live events to look like, or podcasting to look like 10 years from now. And then let's get about the business of doing that. That's our desired future. What must be true that's not true now? And I think as soon as you make a decision to cut one or the other loose, her stress level is going to drop way down. Even though she still has to do some of the work until it's gone. It may take a year to sell the store, but knowing that it's going away is going to be like this huge burden relieved from her. So, as a couple, which one gives you the most peace? Which one gives you the most fulfillment? Which one gives you the most money? Where you look at it and you go, well, that was worth it. Let's do it. Game on. This is the Entree Leadership Podcast. John's with us in Birmingham. Hey, John, what's up?
Hey, Dave, how's it going?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
I hear you. Hey, Dave. So we have a aggregate hauling business here. My question is, so I quit a pretty lucrative job a year and a half ago to work with the family business.
Why?
Well, I was kind of dissatisfied with my previous job, and my dad was just like, hey, man, I've been asking you, just come work with me, try it out. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. What were you making before?
83.
And what are you being paid at the family business?
Last year I did about 45.
Okay. So far, Dad, I don't like it.
Oh, man. Oh, this is why I came to you, sir.
Well, you signed up for it, but good God, man. Oh,
I know.
jeez.
I know. Now, quality of life, I say, I come home in a better mood, even though I'm working longer hours, but I'm sure my plight is obvious here.
Okay, so what, you said you do a little bit of everything, but what does your day consist of? Tell me some of the three main things you spend your time on.
Yeah, so start off bright and early, about 6 o'clock. I get there. I hop in a truck. I run deliveries, run routes. And then about 3:30, I stop, do office work. And then if there's any mechanical repairs, I work on those.
What's office work consist of?
Invoicing, running payroll. We do have a bookkeeper that does more of the in-depth, so I just mainly invoicing.
Okay, so you're doing receivables, and the bookkeeper's doing payables.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're the only one doing that?
My father is doing it as well, but it kind of varies week per week depending on what's going on.
How many of the 12 people are drivers?
10.
So a bookkeeper and your dad?
So the bookkeeper is she's contracted.
Oh,
so she's not an employee of us.
I got you.
She has her own business.
All right. Who's the two that are not drivers?
That would be my father and my mother.
And what do they do at the business?
My father does everything. He will drive when there's a driver down, and does a lot of the other paperwork. And I guess you could say sales. He's the face of it. He's the one that built the reputation. My mother, she is just kind of there.
What's that mean? She gets paid for sitting on her butt? What do you mean?
Essentially, yes, sir. She's she's got ownership in it. Is the deal?
Yeah, I mean, you can be an owner and not be at work.
I guess we'll put it at that. I mean, she is a W-2 employee, even though she owns part of it. We don't do any kind of profit sharing either.
Okay. You made $3 million gross, you said, right?
We did that in revenue.
In revenue, yeah. And what's your net? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head. No, I'd have to dive into that.
Okay. Is there a P&L being produced monthly?
I wish I knew what you were talking about.
Okay. A profit and loss statement showing the revenue that came in that month minus the expenses that were paid that month equals the profit for the month.
Yes, sir. There is. There's one. I just don't look at those pretty often.
Okay. That would tell you what your profit is. In other words, okay, if you were looking at it and if it was being produced monthly, the bookkeeper may be doing that on contract. They may be producing that monthly for you. Or they're certainly doing it once a year for taxes. Okay, so yeah. And what did you do before for $83,000?
I worked as I was actually in the service department at a Freightliner dealership. We were just a high volume Freightliner dealer.
And you did what in the service department?
I was an advisor and an estimator.
Okay. All right. How old are you?
27.
Okay. All right. What's a truck driver make that works there?
Oh, anywhere 19 to 21 an hour.
More than you?
Now that's a part of it too. He gave me the whole speech of you have to start at the bottom. And yeah, there's a few. We're actually hiring some right now, in the process of hiring some, and the amount we're talking is more than I make.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I think if I were in your shoes, okay, I would sit down with your dad and maybe your mom too, and at the office, not at the kitchen table of the family, but at the office, and have a professional business meeting. And it sounds something like this: guys, this is not working out. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I enjoy being here, but the pay is ridiculous. And I don't understand where we're going with this because I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. And you know, we've got to start putting some systems in place to grow this business. And, you know, and I should be paid at least what other employees are paid that do the same job at a minimum. Okay. So the rule, John, in family business that we teach people in family business and that we adhere to in Ramsey is family members that work in the business do not make more than other people that do the exact same job. And family members that work in the business do not make less than other people that work there. Now, if a family member is an owner, they can participate in the profits. That's different. That'd be like your mom, okay? But if you have a job, like, so Rachel Cruz, my daughter, is a Ramsey personality, and the Ramsey personalities are paid based on their sales of their books, based on appearances that they do, and based on speaking fees and other things, okay? And they get percentages on each of those, royalties on each of those. Rachel gets the exact same percentages as the other Ramsey personalities. Now, she may sell less books or more books than one of those, so she might make actual more money, but she has the exact same job and as the other Ramsey personalities and the exact same pay. Rachel is also one of the owners of Ramsey. And whether she's a Ramsey personality or not, by being an owner, she gets some of the profits. If she didn't work here, she'd still get that, okay? That's, you separate ownership from your day job. And at the day job, you should be paid, everyone there, including your dad, including your mom, only what the job pays, not less, not more. And so if your job, and Dad and Mom, I need you to help me define what my job is, okay? It seems like I'm doing some accounting and some truck driving, mainly truck driving. And so when I'm driving the truck, I should be paid at least what truck drivers are being paid. If you're unwilling to do that, then we're going to have to call this and I'm going to have to go get a job. That's what I would do if I were in your shoes. Because I think your dad's making a mistake.
I got you.
And he should clearly define what your job is so we can tell if you're doing it or not. If we hold you accountable for competence, okay? And he clearly define what you're doing, what is your job and your job description, okay? Well, we need you to drive truck until 3:30, and then we need you to take care of these accounting functions, the invoicing, okay? And so a part-time bookkeeper doing invoicing makes this, and a part-time truck driver makes this per hour. And so we're going to put those hourly rates together, and that is your job description and your compensation plan. And that's a professionally run business. And your dad should be doing that. He should do that with everybody in the business, by the way. Everybody that works there, including you. And you shouldn't overpay people and you shouldn't underpay people. Now, so the owner's kid doesn't get taken advantage of, and the owner's kid doesn't get a free ride on lack of competence, and the owner's kid doesn't get paid more because he's the owner's kid. He gets paid for the job he does. Now, when you become an owner someday, you can participate in the profits, but only then.
Right. Okay.
And so I don't know. I think you guys had very different pictures in your minds as to where this was going to go and what it was going to look like. And you are living in your dad's picture, not your picture. That's why you called me. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
When
Sorry,
you said, I'm going to take this job, you had one thing in your head, and he had this in his head. John's going to... Now, I don't mind his statement of you're going to start at the bottom. My son Daniel is the president of this company. I'm the CEO. He started at the bottom. He started in ad sales. Actually, when he was 16, he had to paint the stairwell because he needed money for a car. And I paid him what I would have paid a painter to paint the stairwell, which was overpaying him because he sucked at painting. But but anyway, I paid him by the job, and it took the poor guy forever because he didn't know what he was doing. But anyway, we finally got the stairwell painted, and he got the money for the car at 16 years old. But so he's never been afraid of hard work. I've never been afraid of starting a Ramsey kid at the bottom. There's no silver spoons, right? So then when he came out of college and decided to come here, he started in ad sales here. and he got paid the same commission that the other ad salespeople got paid. And the first year, he was the worst salesman we had. By the time he finished a couple of years later, he was the top revenue producer in the company. He learned his skills. And I didn't hold him back and say, no, you just need to start at the bottom and make no money. No, you start at the bottom, take that job, and you do that job before we can talk about doing something else. That's starting at the bottom. But it doesn't mean you have to be underpaid. Now, you don't need to get paid 83 just because you made 83 before, unless this job pays 83.
Right.
But I think you're underpaid, because I think you're paying your truck drivers more than you guys are getting, more than you're getting paid. And that's not right, John. So I think you and your dad need to get your pictures aligned of where we are and where we're going. And if you can't get alignment on that, then I think your dad's got a wrong situation here, and you're probably not going to want to work there. And, you know, that's, you know, you have proven that you can make $80,000 in the marketplace. So you didn't like the other place, but the income was different. And so you know how to do an $80,000 job somewhere. And that doesn't mean you're worth 80 to this company. If this company pays what you do driving a truck and doing invoices 55 or 65, then that's what you're worth. And that's what you get paid, and that's starting at the bottom. And then after you drive the truck and run the invoices for a while and get to meet some of the customers and start handling some of the stuff your dad's doing, then you move towards ownership and move up in leadership and so on. So there we go. That's how we do it. But I think you need to sit down with your dad and mom. I'm guessing your mom, since she comes down there and camps out, probably has some say in this. So I want both of them to hear the whole conversation. I think that's probably wisdom. And you start with gratitude. I'm grateful. Thank you. It's been a fun ride. But I started this with one thing in mind. You started it with another in mind, and I'm living your dream, not mine. And making half what I used to make ain't cool. When you're paying the guy next to me doing the same job more money. That's not cool. We're not going there. So there you go. Good question, sir. Good question. Happy New Year from the headquarters at Ramsey Solutions. You're listening to the Entree Leadership Podcast, the show where I take calls from business owners and leaders just like you about what it takes to win at any stage of business. I'm your host, Dave Ramsey, with 30 years of real-life experience founding, leading, and growing successful businesses. Our team has compiled a list of top calls and best interviews from 2024 to launch you into another year of hard work and impactful leadership. First up, a call from Gary in Seattle, Washington. Gary and his father co-own a business, but Gary's frustrated about his dad continuing to take home a large sum of the profits without doing any of the hands-on work anymore. Let's take a listen.
So I own a dewatering company, which is a specialty contracting business, and have about 12 employees, and I'm the 49% owner, and my father owns 51%.
Okay.
Okay. We do about $3 million annually, and this is a 15-year-old success story. We started from ashes in 2009, and here we are, and we're doing really well. But my problem is that over the last 5 years, in 2019, I tried to buy my dad out, and it didn't work. And we've been very successful since then. However, my dad doesn't participate in the business. He just rakes in all the money. So he takes about $20,000 a month, and so do I. And then we split it at the end of the year if we have any profits. The problem is I've come to the end of my rope on allowing him to continue to take when I feel like I can't grow my business because all of my profits, or a lot of them, are going to my father, who doesn't participate.
Okay. There's two or three elements to this process. The first thing is we need to break apart the idea of ownership and working at the company. You can be an owner of a company and not work there.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can be a member of the family and not work there and not be an owner. So in family business, the famous family business guy that wrote probably some of the books the longest ago is a guy named John Ward out of, I believe it's Minnesota, if I remember. Anyway, John put together the Venn diagram that a lot of people use, and it's got 3 circles. One circle is family, one is owner, and one is team member or employee, okay? You can be all 3 of those, which would be where the 3 circles intersect on the Venn diagram, if you can see that in your mind. Or you could be 2 of those. You can be a family member, an owner, but not an employee. You can be, in your case, you're all 3, okay? And your dad is just an owner and a family member, but not an employee. So when you break that apart, then you go, okay, owners get distributions of profit. So where your all's model is broken is that Gary is not being paid a salary for being the CEO. You should be getting, on a $3 million business, a couple of $100,000 a year salary before we talk about splitting up profits.
And I do get that, but he also gets it too. So basically,
well, that's not. He doesn't get a salary. He doesn't work there.
Right now he does though. My point is
I know
that's the problem.
that has to stop.
Yeah.
That has to stop. We're not going to pay someone a salary that doesn't work in the business. Now they can get distribution of profits after the salaries are paid. So he should get. So let's say what is your? Do you have a salary plus the $20,000 a month?
No, we just call it a
that's what I'm
draw.
talking about. You just call it. You've completely screwed this up. So that's where the problem's coming in. So you need to get on the payroll of the company as the CEO and president of the company, and the payroll needs to pay you $250,000 a year.
Yep.
Okay. Then what is left after the CEO is paid is called profit. And the profit can be distributed not to the employees, but to the owners, of which your dad would get 51% of the profits that are distributed, and you would get 49% after the CEO is paid. That's how this should be set up.
I agree.
Now, once it's set up that way, then you could still have the complaint that your dad won't let you buy you out, and that's another discussion.
As a matter of fact, I just got the business valuated. I haven't got the number yet, but that is my next move, is to get him to the table and buy him out. And tell him that I've been awful nice letting him basically,
No, that's not going to do any good at all. Your dad doesn't feel like you've been awful nice. And you saying that is not going to do anything but rile him up, dude.
True.
Okay. It makes you feel better, but it's not going. What are you trying to accomplish here? Rile him up, or are you trying to get the deal done?
I want the deal done.
All right, then quit riling him up. Quit whining. All right, so sit down with him and just say, look, you're an incredible businessman. You and I built this thing from the ashes, and now you want to be at home, and I have to, for the sake of my manhood, for the sake of my dignity, I have to be running this thing now, and I have to work out something to buy you out. I can't do it this way anymore. I want to honor you. You're one of the founders. You helped me get here. You taught me what I know, and I want to honor you, but I can't go forward with this anymore, Dad. So help me figure out a way that I can buy you out in a way that makes you smile, and that does not violate me in the process. And let's sit down and talk about that, and not go, I've been doing you a big favor and it's over. That doesn't work, man.
Understood. Now, I have
it wouldn't work with you if I did it to you.
Right. I agree. Now, I went and hired an M&A attorney, but this time, compared to last time 5 years ago, this time we hired them together. See, and I think that's the key to me buying him out, is there is no Gary's attorney or David's attorney. It's our attorney, and he's got our best interest to get across the line.
We need a cup of coffee. We don't need an attorney. You can have an attorney teach you how to put it together, but if you got to have an attorney do the negotiation, you're already screwed.
Yeah.
So the two of you ought to be able to sit down, father and son, man to man, and say, this is how this is going to happen. And then you call the attorney and tell him what to do.
Yeah.
Attorneys are employees. They don't drive the bus. Y'all got to drive the bus on this. Now, the good news is you don't have two different attorneys, to your point, talking at each other, trying to represent you two who should have sat down over a cup of coffee and battled this out. Dad, look, here's the thing. We got to look at this. Now, how you want to work this through? We got to work this through, and then we're going to tell this attorney how to put it together, all right? And if he can advise you on some possible structures, well, that's okay. I don't mind that. But this attorney's not in charge. You and your dad are. And believe me, some of them think they're in charge. So we got to get rid of that problem too. But yeah, I think it's a good sign. I agree with you that you both agreed on someone to look at a merger or an acquisition. But I would, it's a $3 million company. We don't need to spend a ton of money on attorney fees to transfer this thing. It should not be that complicated or that difficult. But y'all sit down and work on it together. And just, I can't go forward this way. And but for those of you out there listening, the way you don't get to this point is you do two things in your succession and transition plans when you're in the legacy phase of your business, the last phase, which is where Gary's dad is. Okay. Number one, you lay out a clear succession plan, transition plan, and here's how it's going to go down. And here's who's going to end up for it with it. Here's how it's going to be paid for. Here's how it's not going to work. Here's how it is going to work. And then two, you have to do what we talked about there with the Venn diagram. You keep the ownership portion of the business separate from the employment of the business. Now that, so for instance, my son Daniel works here. We mentioned that a minute ago. He is paid as the president. His sister Rachel works here as a personality. She is paid like the other Ramsey personalities. The same percentage on book sales, the same percentage on speaking fees, and so on. So she gets paid there. However, both of them are owners of this company. They also get money as owners from the profits. That has nothing to do with them working here. That's a separate issue. So owners can be absentee owners or they can be on-site owners. Both are owners. Stockholders in publicly traded companies, none of them are on-site. You own a share of Home Depot, you don't work for Home Depot, but you're going to be distributed some of the profits in the form of dividends, assuming Home Depot did a dividend distribution. But anyway, that's how that works. So that's what Gary was running into. So you start with that, and you start with a succession plan, a transition plan, and then you don't get all the way up to, I've had it, I'm sick of this guy milking the business, and this guy is my dad, and you keep from getting there by laying this out in a much smoother, gentler grade on the transition. And that's how we do that stuff. So really, really good question, Gary. And what you're facing is fairly normal among small businesses. So you're doing a good job. You've obviously grown it to great revenues. Now we've just got to work this through so your dad feels honored. It's always a good idea to honor the founder. As much as you can honor the founder, it'll help the conversation. Shaming them usually won't get you anywhere. What does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts, you'll get 10 different answers. Economic growth or a recession. Business taxes will go up or down. AI will help us work or replace us all. But there's no such thing as a crystal ball. That's why more than 40,000 businesses have future-proofed themselves with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud enterprise resource planning system. Ramsey Solutions uses NetSuite, and you should too. Whether your company's earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you respond to immediate challenges and seize your biggest opportunities. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth for the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. NetSuite's real-time insights and forecasting help you see into the future with actionable data. And when you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you spend less time looking backward and more time focusing on what's next. And speaking of what's next, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. It's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey. Next, let's hear from Shane in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Shane is curious about profit-sharing practices with a growing construction business that brings in $26 million a year.
I am the a co-owner of a residential housing company that is an on-your-lot builder. We have about 25 employees, and our top-line revenue for 2023 was $26 million. And we are in the beginning stages of being in the legacy stage. And
good.
We don't. We feel like we're probably 5 or 6 years away from, trying to pull away from the business, and we don't have any obvious choices for to take over the entire company. We realize that someone will have to have some management help, and we've got 2 or 3 key employees that are really shown a lot of leadership and growth, and we're trying to figure out the best way to include them in some profit sharing to help continue to motivate them in their growth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you said you had 26 team members.
25.
25, and 2 of them are what you're considering being eligible for this.
Yeah, we have kind of 3 locations throughout eastern South Carolina, coastal South Carolina, and we have one location where kind of the sales manager and our superintendent have really shown a lot of growth and are at least showing potential that we could not be involved in the day-to-day operations of at least that one location.
Mm-hmm. So you think about dividing the profits up by location and sharing them, or sharing them across the whole thing?
Well, we have the profits divided up by location anyway,
mm-hmm.
and then so we know what our profit is each.
Yeah.
We actually have it divided up in 2 ways at each location, because we actually have our company set up as a construction company and a sales team. So our construction company gives the cost of each project to the sales team, and then the sales team gets paid and shows a profit on whatever they sell it over that construction cost, and then the construction team gets paid on the profit that they create by building it for less than what they told the sales team.
Okay, so the price they're giving them includes a margin, and then the sales team's marking it up again and making theirs, and you're running that as 2 separate profit centers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So how are you thinking about paying the team member, the senior team member that's leading a location that has those 2 different things in it?
Well, I know that, they're very numbers oriented, so we want it to be some, because I've heard you talk about profit sharing in the past and the problems that you've had, and you kind of went back and sort of made it more of a thing that could be changed moving in time. But we also want it to be some concrete numbers that we can show them. So our thinking was to pay these 2 members off of our construction profit, but basing them getting this additional bonus off of this construction profit, it would also be based on them hitting some sales goals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's messy. It's messy because they also are managing the sales team if they're managing the whole area, right?
Right, yeah. They're managing their sales team and basically the sales office.
Yeah.
And so we want to take that.
And they're managing the building team. They're managing the whole location, right? Both streams of income.
Right.
Well, pay them off of both streams of income then.
Right. Okay.
Like that's how you get paid.
Right. Yes.
You can make them a partner without giving them stock. If they were a partner and as a general partner of that location or an operating partner at that location, they got X percentage of the bottom line of those two income streams, maybe different percentages for the two different income streams. I don't care. It might be 3% on one, 5% on the other. It might be 22%. I don't know, whatever it is to get them back to their income level. But you kind of got to back into it to get them to at least where they are now, right?
Right.
And so what does the guy at one of the locations make now, as an example?
They're both able to. They're both right around that 150 a year mark.
Okay, and what percentage? Okay, and if I took the sales profit at that location and the builder profit at that location, what would those two things add up to?
As far as percentage?
No, total dollars.
Total. Okay. I believe last year at this particular one, it was like about 1.5.
Okay, so right now they're making 1%.
Right.
And
right,
so
yeah.
if you gave them 1.5% of the bottom line, and they could see the entire P&L and had some say so over the entire P&L, meaning they can create the revenue and they can help manage the expenses and keep them down, which they're probably already doing. They're running that location. Then they are controlling their own income.
Okay.
And they get a raise.
You don't think that? My only concern that we had with that was, sometimes people can get, we're doing all of this and we're getting this 1.5%, and y'all are just kind of watching us do it. And basically,
yeah, well, there's that part where I own it.
Do what?
There's that part where I'm the owner.
You are right there.
I mean, come on. I mean, if you want to go own something, go own something. But this is right now you're making 150. I'm offering you 2.25 on percentages, but part of that is you have to have the emotional maturity to realize you're going to be living off of 1.5% of the net profit for now. We might make it more later, but 1.5% of the net profit gives you a raise, dude. And so the first thing you need to be doing is smiling.
Okay.
And if the guy doesn't have the maturity to run the numbers and see his part in the numbers, then maybe that's not the answer.
Right. So it sounds like we were trying to make it probably too difficult in order to not show them the full books.
Well, if you want them to run something for profit, they got to see the books.
Right. Okay.
So I've got 14 people on our operating board here. They all are paid off the bottom line of the whole company. Everything at Ramsey goes into a pot. Eventually it's split up all over the place, but eventually it ends up, landing in my pocket, right? And so once it comes down through all the different gyrations and everything, so they get paid off the same line I get paid off of. And it's not a huge percentage, but it's a huge amount of money.
Sure. Okay.
And they see every detail of the books. Their job is to help me run this large and complicated business and keep all the dadgum toggles toggling, right?
Right. Right.
And so, because if I'm going to call someone if they're at the level where I might want to have actually shared ownership with them, then I need to at least be able to share the books with them.
Yeah. Okay.
And if they're not, then they're not. That's okay too, because not everybody can make it, can be on my operating board, because some of them can't handle looking at the numbers and going, well, that's only what I make. Yeah, well, you weren't here when I started it either. And you weren't here in those 16-hour days before I lost my hair and all that stuff. There's all that thing. So it's a good question. It's very interesting. And it might not be that that's the right model for y'all. You may want to just say, we're going to pay you off of this, and you just start showing certain numbers. I don't care what it is that create the same situation, but I still want them motivated to run the business, keep expenses down and revenues up. That's running the business from an accounting standpoint. I want to make a profit, and that's keeping expenses down, revenues up in your area. If you're not doing that, you don't get to be here. If that's your job. I mean, your job is keep expenses down, revenues up, and everything that entails. That means all kinds of different things, but that's what it comes down to. And that's what I have to do. If I don't do my job, I get to go home because we're broke. You know, so that's how the whole thing unfolds. So, yeah, I think, yeah, what I would encourage you to do is, number one, nothing's in stone forever. Number two, I have them sign non-disclosures and non-competes if they're going to be at that level. And if they sign those two things, then we can talk about all kinds of stuff. Now it's time to revisit a call from Jeff in Bowling Green, whose brother quit the family business but still wants a check. Take a listen.
I talk about partnerships. I've got a family business. I'm part owner. It's an HVAC and appliance repair company. We've been in business for 30 years, have 10 team members. Last year, we did a little over $1.2 million in revenue.
Cool.
I am 49%. My brother's 49%, and my dad is 2%.
Mm-hmm.
And for 30 years, our division of duties, I pretty much handled the HVAC and business stuff, and my brother handled the appliance side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when COVID hit and the shutdowns happened, that March of 20, my brother came in one day and said, cancel my calls, I'm going home. And he did. And he has not been back to work in 4 years.
Why?
He has no interest in coming back. We do have some real estate together, and he does do some of the managing of that, and that's kind of his excuse for not coming back to the service company. He still expects to get a paycheck, and he still expects to have a company vehicle. He still expects to get half the profits. So 4 years later, I'm kind of tired of that setup. And my question to you is, what's there that can be done about it? I intend to reach out to him and
is it just the two of you involved? Who owns the other 2%?
My dad.
Is your dad still involved?
Not much. He's about 90 years old, so he was just the 2% to kind of break disputes and break ties and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And so what's he say about all this?
Well, since my brother hasn't been at work for 4 years, he's been spending a lot of time with my dad. So my dad thinks he hung the moon. So whatever he says, my dad's pretty much on board with him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So who makes all the operational decisions on paychecks and so forth?
I do.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you ready to force everybody's hand? Because I think it's time.
I think it's more than time.
Okay.
I feel like
just tell him, turn in his keys for the truck. Bring the truck back, and you're no longer on payroll. No workee, no payee. And yes, you own 49%, and yes, you will get 49% of the profits. And the profits will occur after we pay my increased salary. Because I'm now the CEO of the whole freaking place. You guys are out. None of you have access to the business. I'm running the business. If you don't like that, buy me out.
Okay.
You and Pop go over there and play your gin rummy, and y'all figure out how you're going to send me some money, because I'm done doing this. I'm done supporting your dead butt weight. I'm over it. So no more paychecks, and the profits will be distributed according to the partnership agreement, which is 49% of the profits. But there's not going to be a lot of profits, warning, because after you pay my salary that's increasing, there's not going to be a lot of profits left, because I'm going to convert profits into my pay. And there won't be anything getting to the bottom line. Ding, 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 ding. Just fixed you, buddy.
And that's going to go over like a lead balloon?
Yeah. Well, guess what? Anything you do is going to go over like a lead balloon, other than continuing this madness that you're doing now.
That's true.
Anything you do that stops giving him stuff that he doesn't deserve is going to piss off this dead weight parasite. Isn't it?
I agree.
Okay, so you got a choice. You either keep doing it to keep him happy. God help us, we want him happy. But at some point, I don't care anymore. So I would, if you want to, before you do that, sit down and go, okay, guys, the three of us are going to meet, and we've got to decide something different because I'm not okay with this. And sit down in person and try to work it through. I'd love to maintain relationship with your dad. I'd love to maintain relationship with you, brother. But this is unreasonable for you to continue to get a paycheck and a truck when you don't work there anymore. If you want to work there, that's fine.
I was going to offer a buyout to them.
That's fine.
I would prefer to do that, but I was kind of wanting to get set up for the plan B because I don't know how well that's going to go over because they like the way it, especially, my brother likes the way it is.
Yeah, it's okay. So here's the thing. Sometimes in a negotiation, you have to establish the rules. Here's the rules. It's not going to continue like it is. Something's going to change. Now, we get to decide together what's going to change because I'm not going to continue the way it is. So you can buy me out, I'll buy you out, or I'll shut you out. These are our three options. Shutting you out is the most violent and harsh of the three, but I'm kind of at that stage right now by the fact you've been taking advantage of us, of me and my family, with no conscience whatsoever for the last few years. But we don't have to go to step 3, but we can escalate to step 3. No, I like it the way it is. No, you don't understand. The way it is no longer an option. There's 3 options, and the way it is not one of them. I buy you out, you buy me out, or we get violent with the reset. You decide. Which one do you want to play? One of these 3 things is going to happen starting now. We need to decide that in the next 2 weeks. I'm done.
And that's the time frame I'm looking at.
Yeah.
But I can't keep them out of the business, can I? I can't tell them to stay away from the business,
Why not?
can I?
Why not? You're the guy running it.
But they've got part interest in it.
So what? So what?
I just thought that would give them legal right to at least
do what?
There.
They don't have legal right to do that. All they've got legal rights to is 49% of the profits and 2% of the profits. If there's not any profits, they don't have any rights to anything. But there's nothing. I assume you guys don't have any written agreements, right?
No.
I figure.
No.
Yeah, this is a train wreck.
It is.
Yep. Yeah. So
I
mean, there's nothing that says you're the operating partner. So I just changed the locks.
Okay.
I got control of the checkbook. Good luck with this. Sue me. This just got violent. I'm cutting you out, dude. Bring your truck back, or I'm going to turn in a report for theft on it. Grand Theft Auto. You want that one? We can do that.
Seriously, that would go?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
The point is that's not the point. We're not going to get there. The point is you got to jostle this thing loose with a personal, in-person conversation with the 2 of them, and leaving it the way it is no longer an option. You got to take that off the table. So something's going to change. I'd love for us as 3 grown men to decide what that is reasonably, because I'm not going to continue the way it is. I can buy you out, you can buy me out, or I can shut you out. Which one do you want to do?
And just tell them that up front.
I would.
Okay.
I'm getting ready to do one of these 3 things. So I'm forcing you to decide to decide one of the good options so I don't have to go to number 3, which is the violent bad option. Okay, I'm going to pick up the truck, put it back into our fleet, and start using it again to make money. I'm going to change the locks, and I'm going to raise my salary and stop your paycheck to where profit distributions are going to equal close to 0. That's the violent third option. Y'all don't want me to do that. It's not good for you. It's going to hurt our family. It's going to hurt our relationships. But my relationship with y'all is already hurt by the way you all are treating me.
That's exactly right.
And so now we're going to change that so we can begin a healing in the relationship and we can begin to move forward. Now, does this partnership that doesn't have any written documents, does it have a name? I guess it has a name.
Yeah, it's an S corporation, yes.
Oh, okay. And does it own real estate?
It does not. We have a separate LLC, just my brother and myself, that owns real estate. We've got about $2 million in real estate.
Okay. All right.
So that'll be the next issue probably.
And then the way you do that one is very simple. If it goes violent, is you're going to have to go before a circuit judge. It's going to cost you about $10,000 in court costs and attorney's fees. And the judge is going to demand the disillusionment of this partnership, which means the real estate's going to be liquidated and everybody gets their part. If we don't voluntarily sell it off or buy each other out or split it up, how many pieces of real estate is it? Can y'all split it off the pieces 50-50?
We could probably work it out at least close, I would think, yes.
If I were you, I'd take a hit. Or as a matter of fact, you could shovel some of the real estate his way in return for the 49% of the company, right?
I could.
You could do some trading that way if this guy wants to be reasonable. Once he understands clearly we're not going to continue as it is, not an option. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to blow this up if we don't, with good conscience and as 2 adults or 3 adults, figure this out together. So I'll shovel you a bunch of the real estate in return for your 49% of the company, and we can call this a day. And then you go make your money on real estate, I'll make my money on the business and the little bit of real estate I got left, and we'll split that LLC up. But we're not going to continue the way it is. You not working here and getting paid is bull crap.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, it's pretty clean.
Yeah, it's gone on too long.
Yeah, it has. And the problem is he waits until you get so angry about it that you're ready to sever your relationship with your own brother because he's being such a putz.
And that's where it's come to. I mean, I don't like that.
I don't either. I hate it. I hate it. But it speaks to his lack of character.
It does, but it affects the whole family.
Yeah, Thanksgiving dinner sucks.
It did.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So anyway, I would sit down with them and say, guys, look, I'm sorry. I should have come to y'all sooner before I got this frustrated, but now I'm really, really, really frustrated. And I'm at the end of my rope. So we're not going to continue the way we are. I think the best scenario is that the brother, you and I end up with a company, you end up with more real estate than half, and we'll figure those numbers out. I'll set some of the real estate in the LLC over to offset your 49%. I'm going to buy you out at the company. You're going to end up with a pile of real estate. I'm going to end up with a company and a little bit of real estate or whatever the numbers work out. And we're going to call, and then you can go on, and I can go on, and we can still love each other and be kind, and Thanksgiving dinner will be great. I sure hope we can sit down and work that out because I need you to really understand I'm not going to go forward like this. Or if you want the company, you can come over here and run it, and I'll take a bunch of the real estate. We can reverse the process. I don't care, whichever way you want to do it. But it sounds like he didn't want to run the company, and so there you go. And if we cannot come to some kind of reasonable, fair distribution of this stuff, I'm going to blow it up. I'm going to blow the whole thing up. It's going to get nasty. Let's don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Because we're not going to continue the way it is. You just got to take the thing off the table. You're going to have to tell him like 6 times because he's not going to hear it. That's why I'm doing this. Because I can tell you this guy, he thinks he can blow you down, and you're just going to, this guy thinks he can keep this deal intact, and you're going to have to remind him there's hand grenades all around your belt. You're getting ready to drop them right there on the floor. This is going to blow up. Now it's time for caller number 4, Tom in Atlanta, who's disappointed in 50% of the people he hires. Let's hear what he has to say.
Hey, Dave. My question is why do I end up letting go half of my people, 50%? They're not team players. They lack technical or human skills, the emotional intelligence that Pat brought up. We also, part of my question is, we look for hungry, humble, and smart, but I can't seem to get the smart part down. They're qualified. I give them the Myers-Briggs test. They score great. The DISC test, working genius test. I even got certified as a working genius coach. And I hire these guys, I vet them, we interview them, and then 2 or 3 months later, it's like, what have I done?
Wow. Well, I want to sit down and spend some time with you to help you figure this one out, Tom. But I think there might be, I'm going to channel some Dave Ramsey here, and there might just be some inconsistencies about the way you're interviewing people and the way you're managing them. In other words, because if you're doing all those things and you're vetting them, and good for you, but if that many of them aren't working out, I don't think it's the vetting. I think it might be the reality of what's happening once they start there. But I don't say that glibly. I want to help you figure this out.
So, what kind of industry are you in?
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm a custom home builder and remodeler.
Okay, and how many team members?
Right now, I have 6.
Okay, so you hired like 2 or 3 people that didn't work out.
4.
Oh, okay. This helps me. I was amazingly going into the dozens or hundreds.
Okay, and you had the 4 people were doing construction work or doing office work or what?
Office work.
Okay. Are you in the field with your pickup?
A couple of project managers and a couple office people.
Okay. Are you in the field with the pickup managing the jobs?
No.
You're in the office.
In the office.
So you got custom work going on, and you have superintendents or project managers on each of those jobs physically, and you're not physically on the job.
Correct.
Okay. And so they get there and they're having relational trouble inside the office because they're not people smart on the hungry, humble, smart model. Is that what you're describing?
That's part of it, but also they're posers. They're not really qualified to do what they're doing. And I ask them questions. We take them out in the field. I let them spend time with the other project managers. Everyone gives them a thumbs up. But when they get down to business, it's like perplexing. Like, what are you doing?
And you're even using the working genius.
Oh yeah.
So but that's different than you're saying they don't have the skill. So you're hiring a project manager that doesn't know how to manage a project.
Yeah, or they don't understand construction as well as they let on. I mean, one thing we try to do is we're using Trainual, and I'm getting all of the positions, and we're doing all kinds of training videos and those types of things with testing. That'll help, but it just seems like an awful lot to go through. It used to be you could just, somebody would come in the door. I've had people that have been referred to me by, other trades that I've known for years, and they're just, I don't know, they're just not. They're not the speed. I'm spending so much time, I think, trying to vet them on the personal side.
How quickly, a new person starts, how quickly do you turn them loose in the wild without training wheels?
Typically, they're with me or with one of the other guys for about 6 weeks.
Are you noticing the problems during those 6 weeks, or is it after that?
No, it's after that. It's when they get let go on their own.
It's sharing to help continue to motivate them in their growth.
Mm-hmm. That's how we do that. To look at CEO is paid. Going to demand the disillusionment of this partnership, which means the real estate's getting them to do the job the way you want it done.
We're doing just really dumb stuff.
Tom, first let me back up a little and say, since this is a relatively small sample, applying the percentages like 50% or whatever else. So you've had a hard time hiring a handful of people and getting them to stick.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's not like you're a 50% failure. It's like you screwed up on 3.
Right.
That's different. I agree with Pat on that. So, because I screw up on 3 a week. So, I mean, that's just, but we're running with larger numbers. But,
sure. Yeah. Three for me is a lot more.
I know.
It's
I'm just saying,
serious problem. But
it's a problem because it carries so much weight percentage-wise inside your organization. But to indicate that somehow what you're doing is 50% off, I don't think that's the indication.
Right.
So I agree with that. So it feels like that when you are walking with them during their training period, you suck.
Yeah.
It feels like you're not doing a good job getting them to do the job the way you want it done. Because we've got like a Ramsey way to do things. So if you come in and do sales and you're a good salesman, that's different than doing sales at Ramsey. And so you're going to walk with one of our salespeople for a little while, and you got to learn the Ramsey way to make that sale. And it took us a while to get good at that. We sucked at it at first. And so we would have salespeople doing sales 5 different ways, and we had all these inconsistencies and different kinds of complaints from different kinds of depending on who their rep was. And somebody can function within their personality, but we've got some core tenets on accounting or some core tenets on project management or some core tenets on sales that if you're going to do it the Ramsey way, if we're going to do it the Tom way, you got to do it this way. And I don't think you're doing a good job of transferring that.
Well, there's 2 things, Dave. One is the actual processes that we use to manage the project, record things, change orders, purchase orders.
They ought to be able to understand that in a week.
They do all that stuff great.
Yeah.
It's the technical knowledge of, this is how a piece of trim is supposed to look. We don't leave drywall looking like that. We cover floors.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's just basic.
You're a custom home builder, and you may be hiring somebody in that's built mass homes, and they're not as hard on quality as you are.
You know what's interesting, Tom?
That's it.
Well, so many people would call in and they'd say, I'm hiring these people and their technical skills are so good, but they don't fit on the team and behaviorally. You are so indexed on the behavioral stuff, which is great. But there is a point at which they might not be technically as good as you need. But can I ask you a couple questions, though, Tom?
Sure.
What's your working genius?
Galvanizer and discerner.
Okay. And what is your Myers-Briggs, do you know?
It's not good.
It's not good.
They have that.
Me.
I didn't know they had that.
There's no such thing.
I didn't know they had that.
There's no such thing. Okay. Well, see, the Myers-Briggs, I use this construction, this company that vets people and gives them a test and that sort of stuff. And I'm looking for, it's all the personality qualities, the blame and honesty and those types of things. And it pretty much gives me the, they're this percentage of a good hire. Tenacity is my working frustration. So to really get in the weeds, I'm like, I'm the big cheerleader. I get everybody fired up and it's go time and let's do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you're shocked that they don't know what quality looks like.
That's right.
But his T is down here with mine. So here's the deal, Tom. I want you to feel good about this. What you just need is somebody close to you that has T. Because you have good discernment, but you're like, ready to go, let's go. Yeah, I can see this, come on. But you can't cheerlead a person who doesn't understand.
You, in some cases, what I think I'm hearing is you're the type of guy that wants them to succeed in some cases more than they want to.
Yes, I cast on them what I want them to be. I mean,
exactly.
You said in your book, Dave, that, you don't hire people anymore because you're terrible at it, because you spend more time selling them on the company, which I do the same thing. It's like, this is such a great place to work. We're such an awesome team,
Yep, you're right. So my only suggestion is and I'm just looking at this through the practitioner's eyes only, is I'm probably going to change some of my interview questions that you're using. I think you're asking them how many years of construction experience they have, and you're assuming based on that they know how to put up a piece of trim the way it looks in an expensive home, not necessarily a cheap home. And so I'm going to be saying, okay, our values are extreme detail and quality because we're dealing with rich people's houses and they are pissed when things aren't excellent. So how do you feel about that in the construction world? And they go, well, I ain't never done that. I mean, all we did was just put some nails in the board, And that's, you all of a sudden you got a 20-year guy who's not qualified to work for you.
Yeah.
And Tom, I want to say,
there's nobody out there.
I want to say to you, okay, and because like when you came in, you said the 50% stuff, you're probably kind of tough on yourself and you're feeling bad about this. So get rid of that because you've learned stuff. I mean, you've learned stuff in these.
I think you're making more progress than you realize.
Right. So now, based on what you've learned, just take that going forward and say, I have to be more tenacious. Hopefully somebody around you can help you with that, about making, you can now check and take somebody into a place of work and say, what do you see here? See if they notice the stuff that the other ones didn't.
Yeah, you've done a fabulous job for a company your size on figuring out the character qualities and the personality pieces of who's going to be involved. I don't think I've ever talked to anybody with 6 or 7 people that does as much assessment as you guys do. That's amazingly good. But probably where you are is reaching over into your values and communicating out of those values what that looks like as on a technical application to do this way. And so, you can't do it the way it's done over at those other places. And still call it nail on a board. It doesn't work because we are in a completely different world here.
Hey, I have a question for you, Tom. How long did those people work there before you got they left?
So I had a guy that worked for me for 3.5 years, and just broke my heart. I even gave him 2 months severance. He tried so hard. He did everything right, but he just made bad decisions, and he was insecure, and he was a burden to everybody because he called everybody because he didn't want to call me because he just didn't want to bother me. So finally, I let him go. Okay. And then the other guys, one lasted for about after his initial startup and training and everything else, he probably lasted for about 4 or 5 weeks, and then another fella lasted for about 5 or 6 months, and I tried really hard to get him to work out, and then I had a CAD operator, and he just just wouldn't engage with anybody ever. It was quiet and just withdrawn. And
how long did that one take to fix?
That one, when I let his direct supervisor go, who was doing estimating and assisting with project management, mostly estimating, I let him go, and then after he left, probably about 3 weeks later, I let the other fellow.
So one thing, congratulations for some of those people moved out quite quickly, because if you made the wrong hire, the worst thing you can do for them and for you is to keep them around for a long time while they're suffering and you're trying to do that. The guy that was there 3.5 years, sounds like you loved on the guy and he's a good person and all that, and you finally realized you just couldn't do it. I think you go forward just with your eyes wide open and learn the things you've learned and realize you're probably, I can't believe I'm saying this, you're probably over-indexing a little bit on the behavioral stuff.
Yeah. I think you're right.
And that's okay.
I've been to 2 summits, and I've listened to what you've said, and I've listened to your stories, and it's like the technical side everybody wants to go to, and they don't want to do the person side. So I think you're right. I think I've overdone it on the personal side.
And that's an easier fix than the other way.
Also, let me just tell you, after having done this for 30 years, hiring people, and at varying degrees of years or violence, they work out or don't work out, right? I mean, you're probably a whole lot better at this than you think you are right now. Now that I've talked to you a little while, I do think there's something about the way you're communicating your expectations of how to execute the technical thing that probably could use some work. I think that's probably there. But I think you're probably better overall than you think you are. You've been pretty hard on yourself to Pat's point. But yeah, it is the hardest part of business. Business is easy till people get involved. That's the title of the chapter on hiring and firing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. So I'm not going to tell you it's going to get easier, but you're going to get better at it, and it is going to get easier. And it's not going to rip your heart out as much every single time as it does right now either, because you'll get better at that process too. Not calloused, but just better. Be explicitly clear about the quality of work you expect. The right employee should meet company standards in both behavior and skill. Well, it's been another fantastic year of helping you grow as a leader and win in business. And there's no better time to level up than at the start of a new year. So join us in 2025 as we do it all again. A huge thank you to all of our brave callers, our guest hosts who take the time to invest in the next generation, and every viewer or listener who tuned in this year. We appreciate your support and your desire to lead well. Remember, better a weary warrior than a quivering critic. This world needs more high-quality leaders. So take courage and lead. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thanks for listening to the Entree Leadership Podcast. From the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, this is the Entree Leadership Podcast, where I take calls from leaders like you about what it takes to win at any stage of business and leadership. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host, with over 30 years of experience leading right in the trenches and ditches right alongside you. If you want someone who has theories, you're in the wrong place. I'm an actual pragmatist. I do this stuff every day. I'm the CEO of Ramsey Solutions today. If you want to submit a question, go to the website at entreleadership.com/ask or leave a voicemail at 844-944-1070. That's 844-944-1070. Emery is in Tampa, Florida. Hi, Emery. How are you?
Good, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Hey, I'm in the home services industry. I'm the CFO. We have 200 people in 50 million in revenue. My question is, how can we transition our controller out of her role, given her 20 years of managing all the cash and her deep process level knowledge of the business? I joined a year ago, and I respect her tenure. I've communicated that to her. However, over that year, she's been unwilling or unable to transition from the cash accounting to accrual accounting, and we've been forced to build our business processes around her. Recently, in the past 3 months, we've started to raise the bar of what we're needing out of this role. She's become, bitter, and tensions are pretty high right now. She does retain control of the bank accounts, the account logins, and she's the business processes, and she's been reluctant to share that information. In the future, we plan to design the role to reduce relying on just one person, but we need a smooth transition to avoid a major business disruption.
Okay. Well, I think you and I can both agree that this was set up poorly, that you should never have a single person that has exclusive access. I mean, God, if she got hit in a car wreck, y'all be screwed.
I think so.
No, I know so. You said passwords, signatures on the accounts, account access, right?
We've moved over a couple of those pieces.
But I mean, you said she's the sole holder of some of them, right?
Of one of the bank accounts, yes. Some we've moved away. And she can no longer, so the signer, she's not signer anymore, thankfully. But still too much sits in her sole control. What?
One bank account?
The primary bank account, access to it, definitely the process level knowledge of these vendors send us this cash, we apply to these accounts. With the exception of the CEO who's been with the company for a long period of time, she's the only one who really knows and runs that process.
Okay. We can figure those processes out if she walked out the door tomorrow or got hit by a car. We cannot deal with the bank account access being a solo person in a $50 million company for even 24 hours. That is just not okay.
Yes, sir.
Has nothing to do with the fact she's not working out. If she was the dream team member, no one needs to have sole access because it's too much risk for you guys. Again, yes. the proverbial milk truck catches her, you're screwed. So it's just, you've set this up from a financial standpoint, and you'll understand this, and you already do. That's why you're calling. But there's no diversification here, so there's no safety. You need some redundancy in these systems, and that's just good. That's just good systems and processes that you guys have got to install. So the fact that she's being a butt or being hard to work with has just highlighted what was already horrible. Okay?
Correct.
So if I'm you, I'm going to get the CEO and I'm going to sit down with her tomorrow and say, for the next hour, we're going to sit down here and we're going to make a transition to where, in addition to you having the password and the access to this account, the CEO and the CFO also have the password and the access to this account. We're not leaving this room until that happens.
Okay.
It's too much risk. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
And there's 6 vendors that I'm concerned about, and I need to know what those processes are, and I need to know what that is before you leave this room. And it's not because I'm mad at you. It's because we've realized that it's too scary for one single person to be the only person that has this information. If something happened to you, it would shut down our business, and that's not okay. And then we can, as a sidebar, we can deal with her attitude and whether or not she gets to stay. But those are separate issues. I'm not getting rid of her because of that. You guys caused that. I'm not going to get rid of her because she has sole access. But I would get rid of her for being a butt. I would get rid of her for not transitioning and not being willing to move to accrual from cash. That's what we announced as a company we're doing. And if you want to be a we, that's what you got to do. You don't run your own country here. You're not the president. You're the controller. So, we made a decision. We're moving to accrual. I hope you like it. If you don't, then you probably need to go somewhere where they do cash. That's a different discussion. And we made a decision. We don't work with people who are bitter and angry. And so you need to leave that at the door because we don't do that here. So if you can't do those two